Welcome to the Galveston District Industry Day. Please welcome to the stage Galveston District Commander, Colonel David Tate.
Morning, everybody. I keep do a slide or you are good to go. So yes, sir. Hey, so first off, I want to start by saying, welcome to the Galveston District. For those that haven't been here before, and many of you have. Many of you probably spent more time in this building than I have. So appreciate you coming and appreciate you being here for Industry Day. First thing I want to start with is thank you for your flexibility. I know there's been several iterations of this where we've had to reschedule and send out invites, and then even when we kind of finalized when we were doing it, we still kind of had some back and forth on capacity issues and number of folks that could attend. So just want to say on behalf of my team and the Corps as a whole, we apologize for that. There's several reasons for that I won't go into, but thank you for being here and thank you for sticking with it and coming today. First off, good morning. So welcome to Industry Day. So I'm Colonel David Tate. I'm the commander of the Galveston District. So for those of you I haven't met, I hope to meet you soon. Please, come by during breaks or anything like that and introduce yourself and let's chat a little bit. So on behalf of my entire team, thank you for taking the time to be here, whether you represent a small business, a large firm, or if you're just exploring opportunities with us for the first time. We appreciate your interest in partnering with the Corps of Engineers and the Galveston District. So I see some familiar faces out here, some folks that are already doing business with us, and I appreciate that. Some folks that have been with the district before, so appreciate you attending. And so what I tell you is, by show of hands, how many of y'all saw the media release a couple days ago about the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works and his new initiative? Did anybody see that? Okay, so if you haven't seen that, I'd ask you to, Google it, pull it up. It's in a lot of major media outlets, to include the Houston Chronicle, and we have it on our website, our Facebook page. Why I tell you that is because for those of you that have done business with the Corps before, or if you've worked with the Corps before, what I tell you is starting now, you should probably see a different Army Corps of Engineers going forward. So the Army Corps of Engineers you're going to deal with from now forward is a different organization than what you were dealing with a year ago or 10 or 20 years ago. And so what the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works has said is this is the largest transformation of the Army Corps of Engineers Civil Works program since the 80s. And so we're seeing a generational shift in how we do business, how we operate, how we contract, how we oversee contracts, how we do our mission of navigation, flood risk management, coastal protection. We're kind of looking at different ways to do all of that. And you all are a significant part of that. Really what this day is about is relationships. It's transparency, us letting you know what we're doing going forward. But most importantly, it's building those strong partnerships with you so that we can deliver critical infrastructure for the nation. And so that's really what it's all about. It's delivery. And so, the new initiative that Mr. Tell, the Assistant Secretary of the Army, has laid out is the title is Building Infrastructure, Not Paperwork. And so for those of you that have done business with us in the past, I'm sure you can probably attest that we have a lot of paperwork requirements, a lot of bureaucracy, red tape, whatever title you want to put on top of it. We have a lot of that, admittedly, and we know that internally as well. And so what I've been charged with, and I've asked my team to also implement this, is cut through as much of that as possible. And so as we go through today, I'd ask you to challenge the folks that are up here that are telling you how we're going to do business, push back a little bit if we're not operating in a new manner, especially for those of you that have done business with us in the past. If you're seeing trends that it's still doing what we've always done, then we're wrong. And so I'd ask you to communicate that to my team, but also to me. And in a second, Mr. Byron Williams will come up here. I know most of you know him. And so to me or him, like, communicate that. Let us know, hey, we're seeing business as usual, because that's not what you should be seeing. You should be seeing a dynamic shift. You should be seeing us move faster, move quicker, a larger sense of urgency to get to delivery. One comment I heard one of our leaders say in the Army Corps is groundbreaking is great. Like that's great, but that's really just the beginning, right? It's ribbon cutting. Like that's our focus, is getting to the ribbon cutting or the schedule completion or the finalization of a project that we put out there. And that's really where you all come in. Like that's where we lead. And so it's an exciting time to be in the Army Corps. It's an exciting time to be doing business with the Army Corps of Engineers. And what I'd ask you is, most of you in this audience are going to be on the implementation end of all of that. And so I think what you'll see on your end is, stricter controls on schedules, making sure that we're meeting our milestones, making sure that we're staying on budget, making sure that, our performance periods are a little tighter. And so that's where I need you all to help us, because we can't deliver that infrastructure that we're charged to do without your assistance and your support, okay? So for more than a century, we've served the people of Texas and the nation by maintaining and improving our waterways and coastlines, navigation, flood risk management, coastal storm risk management. Those are the backbone of our Civil Ones mission. And these efforts keep ports open, protect communities, strengthen the regional and national economy. Our economy is really hinged on the coast of Texas. And that's also what I've been charged with, is keeping that flowing, making sure that we don't have any delay in those things occurring. And so as we go into this new era, it's exciting times, like I said. We can't accomplish the mission alone. So, that's it, simply put. And that's what this day is all about. This day is all about us having a conversation on what we need to do to keep that, keep that economy humming, and ensuring that, we have freedom of navigation through all of our, channels. We're protecting the coast. We're ensuring that, the Civil Works mission continues on. So as I said before, you're going to have a lot of experts come up here. They're going to give you a lot of highlights of some of the projects we're doing going into the future. Some of our budget constraints, our contracting, and things of that nature. Ask questions. Ask how we're doing it differently. Like, hey, I did business with you guys last year. This doesn't really look like it's different. Like, what are we doing to make this quicker and more efficient? And I'd ask you to just continue to do your part to help us along with that as our partners. So thank you again for being here, for your interest. Just being here is I'm very happy to see all the faces in the audience. This is great. Capacity issues are probably one of the issues you want to have in an event like this. And so thank you and welcome. And like I said, feel free to pull me aside and introduce yourself, or if you want to chat a little bit throughout the day, I'll push you. So thank you.
As we go. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our Deputy District Engineer, Mr. Byron Williams. As we go. Everyone, as stated, my name is Byron Williams, the Deputy District Engineer for Performance and Project Management. In short, that's DPM. Don't ask me why the acronym translates, but here good it is. Probably my probably should talk this morning because I have nothing else to say. Our notes are very similar, which is fine. Again, I am honored to have all of our industry here today. I see so many people out here next to me know that what we do is still very, very low. Industry that's been around for a while, industry that's coming in to try to get get in with us for the first time, that's what this industry forum is for, to let you know how to do that. I have learned in the past that it can be difficult working with us, but in regards to Carl said, Secretary Mr. Adam Taylor is working on fixing that for us. As we go on to mention, Carl mentioned this as well also, but, since 1880, we've been maintaining and dredging the nation's critical ports. We have 12 deep draft ports, 11 shallow draft ports, almost 400 miles along the Gulf Intracoastal Waterway. We have almost $650 billion of trade every year. We're the nation's leader in tonnage, almost 760 billion tons annually. Now it sounds like a port drag, but that's okay. And so when I see people that worked with us before, I'm a little different than we thought. Like, I may be a little bit better, like I'm not understanding names, like Chris Smith talking and stuff. That's okay. In fact, we're all working towards the same goal, and that was important. So I want you to use us to learn. We're going to use you to implement and become the nation's most energy efficient district. I say that and being maybe a little bit biased, but I mean it. You listen to the administration, you listen to Secretary Taylor, energy dominance is important. This is what happens outside of this window. So thank you guys for coming. We hope you get as much out of it as you get out of it. And so I'd like to introduce our Chief of Small Business, Mr. Wayne Tyler.
As we go, 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 as we go.
Here to this event. I'm glad we're having it because I know there's a lot of useful information that you need to know. It's been about a year and a half. So today, my intent is to provide you all the information you need to be successful to partner with us, large or small. Even though I'm a small business professional, I consider myself an industry advocate.
As we go,
Large or small, because we're all attuned. Large has to have subcontract and teaming arrangements. So I'm here to do whatever I can to make it easier for you. As things change and evolve, to be there with you for that. To make things easier for today, so you get all the information that you can.
As we go,
one day, I asked that for questions on your agenda, is if you are getting feedback. Normally it's just regular feedback, but we also have special categories on here for every one of our speakers that if you have a specific question, you can go right into that QR code, go to the speaker and ask for specific questions. So that way we can speed things along here so you get the overview of the different events that are going on in our district. And if you'll follow one.
As we go
to you, and also at Team Apex Accelerator is going to talk after me. Mr. Manitosh, been here for a while. Mr. Jose Gomez, SBA, and then this is what I've heard, regulatory things from SBA. Everything that they're briefing after me is critical information. It's there to help, so I'm here available. And then also the SBA is here and we touch facility.
as we go, 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 as we go,
Great.
as we go, 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 as we
As
go.
I said 2 days ago, this was pretty solid, unchanging. However, we're adaptable and got to change with the times, and we'll keep you updated how things work. But I also wanted to let you guys know that all the briefings are going to be available on the website after this. To as far as taking notice, and will be made available. And also, we're videotaping all of these, and at a later time, there'll be a YouTube link you can go to. And also, more importantly, I'm going to provide all the people that registered and attendees, provide that list and post it for networking amongst yourselves. And also, so there's visibility of who was here, so you can see our industrial partners that were here today, so you can network. It's important for all of us to work together, and like that'll all be available.
As we go, 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 as we go.
Statistics from as of today, that will be changing later this afternoon. You'll hear
as we go
in general about the specifics of this just in general about how things are changing. I just wanted to show you,
as we go,
the United States going on its 150th birthday this year. We can't wait.
as we go, 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 as we
Looking at the
go.
list of attendees here, there's a lot of people that's been here, that's done this for many years. You're gonna have to, like we heard, we're gonna have to adapt. Hopefully it'll be easier to work with government. For those that are new, this is your first time at this event. It's an exciting time to be here. So you don't have to have all that past to worry about. But I try to consolidate on one page all the helpful information that you need. So I'm going to go over some of these briefly. But at the very top, for registration for sam.gov and the I, that code at the top, whiskey 912 tell Yankee at the top, that is Galveston District's identifier for DOB. So when you're searching, that's the main thing. So Matt Tosh, the Apex Facility, is going to go over in a little bit of detail. I need some slides to show you that. We'll into that. But it's definitely the key to your success is knowing how to navigate those two. But also, right in the middle,
As we go, as we
the bulk
go,
of our projects with that link
as we go,
for navigation projects. It's
As we
something
go.
that only this district has. I've seen it for years. I came from the headquarters of small business and got to inspect all the other districts. This is a wealth of information, real time, that'll be going over this afternoon. That you have not seen that, that is a great piece of information. Highlighted myself. I'm always available for you. If you have any questions or anything I can do to help.
as we go, as we go.
Overall, it's all about providing the best support we can, have the best acquisition strategy to accomplish what we're doing now and in the future. So,
As we
I
go,
mentioned before, the Apex Accelerator business opportunity study instead of here, that's like research.
as we go, as we go, as we go.
Snapshot, we go into more detail this afternoon, but this is the bulk of our projects can be found there. Currently on our website, if you haven't been there, is our forecast for fiscal year, for this fiscal year, and also all the existing contracts that are awarded, all the MATOCs. So as far as research, if you're new, you just show up and you get the new research. That's not a way to do business. So waste your time and ours. But before you try to navigate, run into snags, please reach out to me and I'll give you the best advice I can for making it easier to do that for us. As far as research, make sure you check out our website, especially on the site for a small business site doing business with us. Wealth of information. And that's where I plan on putting everything that's helping for you, so you don't have to be guessing. So as I get information, that's posted there. That'll be a key for all of our success along with time.
As we go,
Getting the text accelerating up.
as we go, as we go, as we go, as we
This
go.
is a snapshot of the fiscal year 25 goals. And I know for decades, year after year, you get the industry day events and you see these goals. I'm going to see
As we go,
where you can fit in to meet those goals. We're going to do everything we can at fiscal year 26 to maximize small business.
as we go, as we go.
Mindsets changed, small business community, and just as a whole, is that our focus is going to be
as we go,
providing the best acquisition strategy that makes sense.
as we go,
Make that first, but at the same time, maximize small business and us putting that competitiveness, but not at the expense of
as we go,
mission requirements. And so more to follow on that, but it's a mindset change. It's all about having the best setting it up for success. We have the best, we build small business set aside. We have a good reason to do it. And if we don't, it's unrestricted. We had a good reason for that activity. It's about accomplishing the mission and delivering the program more effectively based on that.
as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go.
Sam.gov, this is available to the public. There's lots of reports of different ways you can manipulate data. Sam.gov and different reports. That's another thing that the Apex Accelerator can assist you with. or if you have questions about it, I'm available. But this is a snapshot for 3 years. And I'm going to highlight the top part with 95% last 3 years is civil works.
As we go.
That's the bulk of what we do. So if you're sitting in this room and you're looking at these scopes and these categories, and the top two numbers almost our entire issue as far as forward. I would argue going forward will probably be more than 95%. We'll see. Future will come to. I just wanted to show you this. And this is part of your market research. Doing business with the Galveston District, knowing what we've done before, knowing what we're doing in the future, and staying on top of it by checking out our website.
As we go.
I always like to educate these promoter Apex Accelerator. It's the first time I got to meet him in person. I just moved here in October from headquarters. Glad you came in and he's here in person and going to provide a wealth of information. Starting about what is an Apex Accelerator and how can they help? I mean,
as we go.
Business developers, strategy integration. I can put it
as we go.
Minutes about
as we go.
There. Want to make sure that you know that what used to be called the small business dynamic search is revamped with a lot of good useful ways now. But make sure your small business that you have that updated with keywords, and then also that's your capability statement. Because a lot of times when we need market research, if you don't have a capability statement for us to go to and look at, a lot of times you're passed over. So that's a big tip right there. Make sure the wording is good on the tools when they do searches, and then also making sure that your links there.
As we go.
Last is all the different links. For me, the small business site that I was talking about.
As we go.
Middle, that goes directly for all the small business and for my office that I'm going to post everything. I also encourage you to look overall at the Galveston District website, which can keep informed of the current events and just overall what's going on.
As we go.
That's not be followed by
as we go.
Apex Accelerator schematic touch.
As we go.
Any smaller than this.
As we go.
Morning. My name is Dennis McIntosh. A little long week.
As we go.
Today,
I need to stand as front. I'm
used to walking around.
Yeah.
As we go.
So what I'll be covering today is a little bit about our program, what it gets does, how we work with the business community and government contracting. Also, finding federal opportunities with a specific focus on the Galveston District. So I'm sure everyone here knows how to get a sale and find procurement opportunities to bid on. But this will focus on the Galveston District. A little bit of few hints I want to point out that will help you in your searches. Also, required vendor registrations, a couple of vendor registrations, Wayne and mentioned Sam, but there are a few more that in order for you to do business, you have to be registered properly. Also,
as we go.
Requirements, not so new in terms of cyber security, but I want to give you base in terms of if you're not there doing business with the Department of Defense in general, it's not going to happen. So I want to talk about that. Also, I'll end up with some additional information. Again, as Wayne mentioned, if you have questions, there's a QR code. I'd be glad to entertain your questions. Thank you. Let's get started.
As we go.
A little bit about the Apex Accelerator Program. There is an Apex Accelerator Program in every state, 6 in Texas alone. We're very regionalized. The Houston area Apex is hosted by the University of Houston, even though we're not on campus. We are not an area which is familiar with Houston, near the Galleria River Oaks area. We are on the 8th floor. The Small Business Development Center actually is on the 9th floor. So if you've been to our center, we will meet with you. Most of my meetings are virtual, but we can meet with you virtual, in person. But we can accomplish most everything in terms of helping you through a virtual meeting, as long as you're at a good internet connection. I can see your screen, I share my screen, we make it happen. Also, what we do is
As we go.
assist business owners, doesn't necessarily have to be small business owners, in helping you navigate the government contracting space. And government contracting is not just federal government, which is the focus of today, but state and local government. And why is that relevant to the Corps of Engineers? Because the Corps of Engineers does a lot of partnerships with local governments. City of Galveston, Galveston County, the state of Texas General Land Office. So being registered with not just in SAM to do business with the federal government, but state and local government, we can advise you in those areas as well.
As we go.
Our advisory assistance is no cost to you, where 65% of our funding comes from the Office of Small Business Programs, Department of Defense Office of Small Business Programs. The other comes from the state of Texas through the University of Houston. We work with for-profit businesses. If you're not for profit,
As we go.
one exception, if you have an innovation focused business that will be a good fit for one of the small business innovation research, small business technology transfer research projects, or other innovation programs. There are others out here besides SBIR, STTR. We could assist in that. In fact, we have a goal to assist innovative companies, because why? We want our soldiers in the field to be best equipped, best trained, the most technology advanced in the country, in the world. So we're gonna look at you. We want to help you.
As we go.
We also provide training workshops. Our training workshops are live, in person, or virtual, instructor-led, or on demand. Also, as a hint, you can see our training workshops. If you want to go directly to our website, it's for the space UHAPEX. It will take you there with the first search result. You can see training, our upcoming training courses, and I might mention that throughout some of my presentation today as well. So
As we
you
go.
do need to be a client to receive advisory assistance from our program. It's a registration from our website as well. Just curious, how many in the audience are APEX clients today? I hope everybody reads in here, because if not, at the end of this presentation, I want to encourage you to become an APEX client. So
As we go.
let's get into SAM searches. In SAM searches, and also there's a workshop we have on SAM searches. I will touch just on focusing on Galveston District today. Again, some hints, but we have a workshop every month on navigating SAM, stable searches, and SAM. So I just want to point that out. 3 key methods that I will cover. One is searching using keywords. Other, focusing on federal agency and keywords. Also, in ways like I want to give the formal definition, the W912HY, that's known as the THODAC code, Department of Defense Activity Address Code, the THODAC code.
As we go.
Corps of Engineers, Galveston District, W912HY. I'll cover that when you set up searches. Also, there's a special search called a special notice. There's a type of opportunity special notice. At the end, you can see right here, there was a special notice that came out in 2022 that said,
As we go.
Corps of Engineers, Galveston Southwest District, SWG, their procurements will be posted in SAM, but to actually get to the solicitation, you have to be registered another protocol, PI, Procurement Integrated Enterprise Environment. I'm so used to saying fine, but that was posted as a special notice. What other functions are special notices? Industry days. Industry days are posted in SAM under special notices. So why do I mention that? You can search special notices and save searches is under special notices types of classifications. You get it automatically emailed or special notices, so you're aware. Awareness is everything, right? So
As we go,
favorite searches in SAM, the first one using the keyword. Again, folks, your jobs for engineers. As you can see at the top, when you get into SAM, you don't want to do a general search in SAM. First, you want to point at contract opportunities in SAM. In fact, why is that important? Because the search criteria on the map changes the focus specifically on
as we go,
down at the contract opportunities. So once you're in contract opportunities, we're going to start with keyword search. And I use keyword search. You have different options for keywords based on Boolean logic. Any words, all words, or exact phrase. I selected all words in this case. And what I did under all words, I inputted beach nourishment and gaps.
as we
My
go,
results come up. It's looking at the content of the solicitation. Notice not digging down into the solicitation itself, but notice that 24 results. These are all Galveston Board of Engineer District using these keywords
as we go,
and focusing in on beach nourishment and Galveston, because why? That's a key project for Southwest District.
as we go, as we go,
Federal agency and keywords. This time, enter keyword Galveston, give like Galveston, or if there's Southwest District. But there is under contract opportunities, the search criteria, and there is a both federal organizations,
as we
federal
go,
organization, Department of Army. So the Department of Army, keyword Galveston, well, like Galveston, or engineer south of the District, and I am not having any additional criteria in terms of next codes or any specific keywords. You know, this one like, can you see the result? Yeah, I do want to point out, it's not in the slide. This is something that I noticed in a fair for this workshop.
as we go,
Search results, do I have in terms of the notice ID, solicitation ID, W912HY?
as we go, 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 as we go,
W912HY.
as we go,
I didn't go there in federal organizations, you get Galveston Board of Engineers.
As we go-
When you do these searches, once you set up your criteria, get the signing ups. You get email notifications. That's why this is important.
as we go, as we go, as we go,
So you are aware of when an opportunity comes available. These are probably not track opportunities, as you already say.
as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go,
This case is an example using donut code under a keyword search. But I think practically, I would use W912HY and donut code for Galveston Southwestern District. And a federal organization, in that search box, you get more detailed results. When I use the keyword, those there's a big difference on this.
as we go, as we go, as we go,
So, just a minute. Why did we go through this? Because if I look at the federal organizations, the core engineers, you will not, and the core district clear, you'll find core engineers, civil finance. It's not,
as we go, as we go,
so, health and search and sale. Also, I mentioned, drilling down and selected a search result. Notice ID, again, sorry, we could know that. And then the whole solicitation notice ID. That ends with BA00 1.
as we go,
That's great, but and bottom of this, thank you, so.
as we go,
It said there's a reference to the procurement integrated enterprise environment. Remember that special notice lady?
As we go.
You go actually get the details of the solicitation. No attachments, normally you will see attachments to solicitation, which click on that link. It takes you directly to
as we go,
procurement integrated enterprise environment or PI.
As we
What
go.
you need to do, you can register it by, you can actually fill out the solicitation. You can view it without being registered by, but you can download all the attachments to the solicitation here where you apply for them. To stay at the very top.
as we go,
This offer selection, the yellow arrow, that's where you actually, after you review the solicitation, what's it, you select on that, and you're entering your response in time.
as we go,
Require registration, stay. Right, invest that. That's a starting point to do anything with the federal government, right? They have to be registered in SAM. However, when you do register in SAM,
as we go,
make sure in SAM your next goals are appropriate to the solicitation in your facility. Make sure that, especially with small businesses, because small businesses, when you do the registration in SAM, you get asked what revenue size, the number of employees. That's a determination of your small business status.
as we go,
If it's a small business, if the solicitation of the small business satisfied, you want to make sure that your corresponding names will indicate your company is a small business and it's dependent on names. So you could be a large business in one names, a small business in another business. So depending on the solicitation that you're pursuing, you want to make sure in your sales profile, your registration is set up properly. If it's a advisor can help you point all this out. Also, for those of you in the room that are providing a product or service related to that recovery, very important in Houston area.
as we go,
Disaster recovery, when you do your sale registration, there's a little check box.
as
Do
we
you
go,
want to be available for disaster response opportunities? Yes or no? It's not a guarantee of any business, but it is a good practice that if you say yes, it indicates the states that you want to make your company available for it. Why? When a disaster happens, it's a real time on you.
As we go.
Contract officer or office will reach out to those companies in the disaster response question.
as we go,
Another again, we do the same registration.
as we go,
Small business first. When you sign up your sales registration and you're classified as a small business, this is a program that automatically gets made in the semester by small business administration. But when I say registration, there are 3 sections in there you want to make sure that you go in and register in. Number 1, you want to let people know what you do. So there's a capability narrative section. And just a short paragraph, what your company does, keywords also is the edit you have to go in and make manually. Keywords, if a contract officer or another business is looking for a partner, this is a great resource for them to find other companies. So keywords, if you do
as we go,
recovery, you sell water, you sell generators, make sure that's a keyword. And lastly, if a fairly new update in the SBS is you have the ability to have a link to your company's capabilities.
as we go,
Information in your SBS small business critical points. It gets created automatically through the same registration, but can't go in and update those sections. And lastly, I'll get to the procurement enterprise. Procurement integrated enterprise environment of use skill and that is much to do. But
as we go,
we saw one
as we
use
go,
of pi is to actually find solicitations. Additional uses of pi are related to cybersecurity because think of pi as an umbrella application that is sub-applications of it. One of those sub-applications is solicitation application. Not all federal agencies use that. Or there's one agency, there are others that will post solicitation under pi, but also pi, another application, very important, is where you register your cybersecurity score, which I'll talk about next. That application is called SPERS, Supplier Performance Risk Management System.
as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go,
Information so good, you're burning up the mic.
Yeah, not burden of fight.
as we go, as we go,
All right. So another application under, very important application that's under I is identity. So the AWS, that's all under 5. So very important registration.
as we go, 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 as we go,
We know this has been cut. It's here. It's been cut here for a while, but this is still changing.
As we go-
Point out some of those changes.
as we go,
First of all,
as we go, as we go, as we
a
go,
little technical, but I will refer to the defaults of the Department of Defense Federal Acquisition Regulation Laws. This is built in the books, and it is limitations today. Defaults law correlates to cybersecurity
as we go,
assessment. NICA 9170. Yes, you should have that done, should have had it done a couple of years ago to be compliant when you are submitting your bids. Awesome. When the contract officer looks at your response, then they will look out for the first, and so in most cases, there's not a specific board, so there's layouts.
as we go, 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 as we go,
Some solicitation backgrounds, CNFC, cybersecurity, maturity, certification.
as we go, as we go,
My
as we go,
recommendation is both. This, they got to understand for the cybersecurity, city sport, and CMMC will be either a level 1 or level 2.
as we go, as we go,
Basic is a self-assessment, and the self-assessment is just not checking the box.
as we go,
This is very serious. The Department of Defense takes it very serious. Number one, does not happen for their certain major non-compliant statements. No section will get in the game if it's less than 171. If it's a city of the city, number 1 or number 2.
as we go, as we go, as we go,
Just checking the box, not taking this seriously. I have some resources that I'll point out with you. And worst case,
as we go, as we
you
go,
can be subject to, if you get the term right, look at my notes.
as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go,
Exam. That's how serious. And all must be subject to a false investigation. So, because this has been on the books for a while, here, so I'm gonna point it out.
as we go, 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 as we
This
go,
bracket is directly from the GOP, Chief Information Officer, detailed information about cybersecurity. If we look at it, we did the slide to eventually navigate you through this graph. Let me go through this.
As we go,
These levels are based on city or city model. This is your basic level one, the corresponds to this 800-171. Okay, this is where we work. This is where we are today, level two city or city.
as we go,
These numbers correspond to different control levels, but you're quite using now your company's
as we go,
of cybersecurity. And you basically like the ask for us to get allocated on the duty of information.
As we go.
Cases,
As we go.
You have a tendency to answer, this is not a 5-day, I don't know, or no.
as we go,
Going on, when we get to level two, no, it's not in itself, where's for number two.
as we go,
You have a plan in place there, prevent the control level. And in most cases, the layperson does not have an answer to some of these questions. I'll go up to this.
as we
I
go,
have a tendency to say, it's not going to apply to me. I have a home office, I have an house. I have nothing to do with having the control of people that walk into my home office, but that is one of the control levels. So, yeah. I mentioned resources, there are resources going in this slide that I'll point out. Where we are with level two, let me just point out.
as we go,
It does say self-assessment, again, self-assessment, again, you register it after you go through all the 13 different control levels, you register the scores first, 14 control levels, register your score at the end of one of all of these questions, it scores.
as we go,
Scores first. Yeah. Level two can be, depending on the spirit level of solicitation, require not self-assessment, but a third party organization that's certified to do this assessment. All these different control levels that are part of the CMSC.
as we go, as we go, as we go,
Solicitation will fix something. If you need that.
as we go, as we go, as we go,
Self-assessment generally will apply. What if this is on the right, this graph, again, directly from the Chief Information Officer, this is where we're going today. This phase two.
as we go,
Phase two started November.
as we go,
November
as we go,
last year. And then the solicitation, you will see the reference clause. There were the default clause. It's 1725. That is the reference clause that the victim started showing these solicitations. Reference to the city on the city.
as we go,
Now,
as we go,
these different phases over here are about 12 months in duration. So this is where we are today, starting November of 2026. We should be in phase three.
as we go,
Phase three,
as we go, as we
not
go,
necessarily self-assessment. I say not necessarily self-assessment because the solicitation dictates that you're consuming. It could be a third party
as we go,
assessor.
as we go,
Comes into your organization, you look at your CMMC control levels. And that's self-assessment, the assessor. I look at the cybersecurity cycles that you have in place, will give you a score, and that score is what I get slowly in scores. No longer self-assessing. And then 24 months out from that, it's in all third-party organization or another guy, you might don't understand stuff. This here, defense, industrial base, cybersecurity assessment center.
As we go.
That is a federal organization as in place that's not necessarily third party organizations, some of the career sites here in this country. But a federal agency, and that's really in place today for high level, probably secret policy, thanks to suggestions. So, yeah, same way, very serious. And also something I mentioned from the small business community.
As we go, as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go,
Cost.
as we go, as we go, as we go,
Something that came across my desk that I wanted to mention, came across my desk Wednesday.
as we go, as we go, as we go,
SBA
as we go,
actively required is at the roundtable. And I have to make myself mention available to point out how to get to this.
as we go,
Small business community for you to give your voice feedback in terms of what's the impact of our organization, what's the impact in terms of the cost, because I'm sure one in the room that's doing this, that with the old part of the board is in this process at some level today.
as we go, as we go,
And you felt the impact. This is your opportunity to virtual roundtable. I strongly encourage you to give feedback. Because this timeline is not giving us too much feedback to solve this still. No, this thing.
as we go, as we go,
Please, I want to make that resource available to you. I encourage you to take it out, that round.
as we go, 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 as we go,
Resources.
as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go,
Seriously, resources. The first one was certified
as we go,
third parties to set up for the mobilization.
as we go,
These things, this is the resource is slowly.
as we go,
Going. That is the our website. It's also available on UHA's website. You go to our homepage, you scroll down, you'll see a section like security. You will see this list of links to resources that are there to assist you. The second one is a resource requirement.
as we go,
Spectrum on your website is defined as Spectrum over that I know they have this templates that can guide you in terms of the control levels. Also, project accountability has a wealth of information specifically as well. I managed to relate scores, different standards that I mentioned earlier, and also the last main office of this procurement has information on their website about CMS, what is now just well list out there available to industry.
As we go,
today, Apex is already on to be a resource for the use those.
as we go, 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 as we go,
Revolutionary far, that policy changes
as we go,
that
as
I
we go,
want you to be aware of.
as we go,
These changes are showing up as the state today. Part 12.
as we go, as we go,
Federal procurement is only handling its commercial acquisition. One change, be aware of it is involved. Some construction projects are moving under part 12. Some construction things are moving under part 12. Also,
as we go, as we go, as we go,
as we go,
as we go,
commercial acquisition procurements, you had to have your reps and certifications. That was a part of excuse me.
as we go,
212-3 reps service.
as we go,
Include that in commercial acquisition responses, and it was about allowance questions or whenever clients come to me for solicitation review.
As we go.
have 10 pages of part of 52-212-3, I will always say you don't need that. You didn't need it then, you don't need it now, it's been deleted under the article, revenue stable. So some of you might say, yeah, it's related, it's the whole point of the revolutionary funds, remove anything that is non-statutory from the farm, the rights and regulations.
As we go,
That's been accomplished. So, other parts so far that have been updated, let me go to my cheat sheet, because I'll quickly go through this. Part 13, it used to be simplified acquisition procedures. Now part 13, as you can see, title is simplified acquisition for non-commercial items. What was commercial items in part 13 that we moved to part wage. It's all under the part 12. Part 15, contract by negotiation.
as we go,
Takeaway here is the contracting officer
as we go,
has more leeway to negotiate with under the part plan.
as we go,
Part 19, small business. Under part 19, I can tell you that has retained rule 2. Meaning if there are 2 competitive offers for small businesses,
as we go,
together the simplified acquisition threshold, which is now $350,000. That's been retained.
As we go-
Also, under part 19, competitive A,
as we go,
the preferred selection method for the sole source thing. Part 36 of the construction and architecture engineering contracts. There's language in terms of performance, how that's good. That's good input. Well, it's for you.
as we go,
Farms never build you now. Could be mobile, anything that's non-statutory. It's still not the nighttime reading. There is a guide of a practitioner album, which is easy to read. That's where I got my notes from, but I go up in these sections of where we mentioned through the practitioner album. I recommend you take a look at that. You don't have to be an expert in the farm, just be knowledgeable. Because when you look at solicitation, what you have is practices. R&D farms, especially if you look at this.
as we go, 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 as we
Why
go,
do you mention this?
as we
I
go,
want to give some accolades to the Galveston engineers, in general. To welcome information in terms of current projects on your website.
as we go, as we go, as we go,
So those 2 links will send you to the Corps of Engineers project, and this is what's going on here. Projects.
as we go,
Not just current projects, but I'll be forecast projects around there as well. So make this, it is great, easy to navigate.
as we go, as we go,
The Galveston District is involved in a lot of projects.
as we go,
It's actually become out to do it in role, but I want to ask you.
as we
There is
go,
a section on the course website for that, but APEX, given a lot of our clients when a disaster happens, if we ask every guy, a quick reference guide for doing business in times of disasters, and a detailed reference guide, disaster recovery opportunities for the business community, the contracting community. On our website, if you go to USACE, you scroll down, you'll see a PDF down. We
As
have
we go-
a section of doing business with Corps of Engineers there, with we recognize the importance. One really gets heavily involved.
as we go, as we go,
So, take a lot of medicine dying that we have throughout this year. So, when you're looking for the cell contract off,
as we go.
Sign on USACE inspection, I'm looking at you that. Also, I don't have a slide here, but for those of you that have been familiar with the federal procurement data system, LP, yes, that now has been integrated into the state.
As we go, as we go.
It's a good way to find prior outputs, no USACE spending, and everything else or the database of awarded contracts. Why don't you go there? You can find times that are full contracts. If you're going to market research, which I strongly encourage you to do, market research at all times, understanding who has won these contracts, the amount of the contracts, what agencies are buying. All of this information is very important to market research because it's been the LTW. So, SBA stuff that has been improved tremendously.
As we go,
Put this on the slide. Now I do.
as we go, as we go.
Find the primes that are looking for subcontractors. SBA stuff, see the link there, and the contractor database, you won't find opportunities there, but it's going to be that is registered in the cloud. USA, US, Army Corporate Engineers contract.
As we go, as we go, as we go, as we go.
It's just that day USA standing. When I'm looking for Galveston contract awards, you know those that know that.
As we go,
39 one Swedish flag, what? Galveston, Southwestern District. And sign grade up, I just want to look for fiscal year 2025. I never ran this keyword search.
As we go.
2025, so I have too much data and not my results. You can say contract, contract recipients, this is some information of what telling me what these contracts, something about contract name, I will copy a name, or Sam, that's to go, defines the expansion exam. So this is complicated. This is something we get assisted with, but take a look at these slides when you get them, navigate it, this is information that should be known.
as we go, as we go, as we go. As we go.
So this is family, some tips, system vendor registrations that I recommend we have in order to position your company through this. Cybersecurity compliance, please take that seriously. Awareness of climate change is procurement regulations are and we pass. And sometimes eventually, as the biggest schools will you make that it's a solid. So that means
As we go, as we go.
this is a vast many who can fit that yesterday, small business development center, we need to celebrate the Saturday meals Friday, March 6th. I'm late forward to participating now, as well as other
As we go.
potential purchasers of companies. They're just similar to like industry name, but if you actually what I would like, you can go to the link or you say people are those, we'll give you information. This is the version you're getting at. So you should maybe just someone to stay the sun and keep it up in So again, question about the connection, community reach out, we get into questions. Thank you.
As we go, 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 as we go. As we go, 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 as we go.
Very much. I want to give you some things about. We talked about this, that I talk contracts, the work we rebuild. But don't become different towns, quite different than Arrows. I can up, we drink playing out Sleepwater, then there's focus, we drink at, it's one way, if it's not these, never. We basically have to learn what they do. But it's on 40%, but I will be for. But I'm good with the night, or I'll do the first half, we drink. We make it since we take over out of the beginning next navigation day. So this thing, people, foreign contracts, contracts that are create federal projects. We're gonna try to focus on and do it sleep with way is putting those contracts in the station.
But first, please help me welcome to the stage from the Small Business Administration's SBA program services. But
Jesus, go ahead.
but
Button goes this next, to the buttons back. That's what 3 buttons, what one. That's, yes.
but
Everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'll be talking a little bit about some federal government programs and services from the SBA. So who's the SBA? We're the Small Business Administration, and we cover 32 counties here in the Houston area. So we cover pretty much all around the area, from Leon, Morton to Galveston, Butte County. So if you're within those counties, you belong to the Small Business Administration, the Houston District area. But there are some resource partners that we have. Davis is one of them as well, the Texas Electrical Small Business Development Center, SCORE, Houston, the veterans. We have any veterans in the region? Thank you for your service. We have the Veteran Business Outreach Center that's available to you, and it's also free at college. We've got the Women Business Center, the Alliance Center, and the Greater Houston Women Business Center, as well as part of our research programs for the Small Business Administration. But so let's get started here. If you're wanting to do business with the federal government is one of the largest, or is the largest purchasers that purchase audit and services. But last year, they purchased over $700 billion worth of audits and services. If you're thinking, what type of businesses or what type of services are they purchasing? The diversity might be anything and everything. And there's a small business set aside that each of the government agencies has to do, which is 93%. That's their goal, but they have to set aside any kind of that they do has to go to a small business. And they're going to be thinking, what is small business? We'll get into the detail a little bit about how we determine small business. And of course, all the federal agencies have to meet this requirement, or they try to meet close to it. So remember that 23% is a good goal for you to try to get some business from the federal agencies. But so how do we get started? Well, first thing we do is we look at your mix code. Everybody pretty much has your mix code already. The next thing is, what Dennis was on about, is being registered to SAN.gov. And it also has to be active, because I get this thing all the time. Hey, I'm on SAN.gov. I finally never get a contract. I go, okay, well, when was the last time you went in there to update it? When was the last time you looked at it to review it to make sure you're active? Because this is active. Every year you have to review it. But you're always like, oh, no, I just have Amber about 2 to 3 years go by, and that takes their active for at least 2 years. And so please make sure and always keep it updated. And that's where you get your unique identification and your post-cation number. But also, of course, we work with APEX accelerators. And also, the best thing to do is also know who the small business contact is for that federal agency. If you can find out who that is, always be able to talk to them and then also market. But always have to have your capability statement. Everybody should already have kind of like an elevator pitch. That's more of what the capability statement is all that. We want to know 1 page of what your company is. Don't give us 10 pages. Right, I know either put your own lost page. But so you're thinking, okay, well, what are some of the opportunities that we can look at? Of course, you got to go into SAN.gov, some of those government contract opportunities. I mean, you have to conduct your market research. You're thinking, okay, well, how do I do that? Where do I begin to look at these at future? And then also be able to meet with the sales reps of the small business for that agency. But remember also that all the things that the federal government's body, they're going to advertise it on SAN.gov if it's over 25 hours. So anything over 25,000 is being advertised on FAM.gov. And you're thinking, okay, well, how can I do some market research? Well, here are some websites and some information that you can go to. The Federal Procurement Data System provides you information on what the federal government's doing. That USACE spending that gives us audio, that's very important as well, because that tells you what the government's spending their money on, what they're buying, what services, products they're looking. Okay. Up to date. But no. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's fine. On the USACE.gov, if you go to the website today, you can see how much money the government's already spent. In the first quarter, it was showing that it has spent $38 billion. But that was October, November, December, and that was also part because the government shut down. But that's very good information. You start looking and doing your market research on these websites. Then we can also go to the acquisition.gov, and then of course the agency of the small business programs, and the most important part is the Department of Defense, the directorate on cultures, to see what opportunities are there as well. But here's where we start off with is steps to developing leads in the federal government. So the first thing you got to do is who's buying my products and services, but what agencies are buying what I'm selling, and then how much are they buying? Is there any awards set aside for small business? Because there's always awards that have to go to a small business because we're trying to meet that 23%. But also, who are the competitors? Who got the contract last time? Go in there and review and find out who's doing all this so that way you can see how you can complete. Or if your prices will match what they have. But also what contracts are set to expire. You know, that's very important because you want to know if it's coming up for renewal. And you're already anticipating, hey, this contract's coming up, and then we want to go ahead with their lucky. And also, I know that, you know, the unknown is frustrating because you might say, hey, I did it on one contract, and I've waited 2-3 months, and I still hadn't heard it. But okay, one, do you reach out to the contract specialist for that? Who will give you that? But also, another thing is about that is the frustration of trying to know the small business. It's what a, but just step up on transfers that you want to do that. Yeah, let me just do that. Yes. That's how we need to go out even. But one of the programs that we're going to talk a little bit about as well is the mentor program. And this is not a matchmaking program. So these are the two, one program that we'll be talking about. So here's some benefits if your company is a protege or a mentor. Which of these two will be your company? So if you're a protege, of course, you're looking to get some technical and management assistance. You're trying to get some financing, some equity into your business. But you're also into some government contracting. So for the mentor, you're looking at what's my benefit out of it? What do I get out of it? Well, here's one thing here is doing a joint venture together with a small business or a protege that will provide you some qualifications to be able to bid on some of the small business contracts that are out there. So here's some eligibilities. Everybody always asks, okay, what's next? What am I eligible? So for you to be a protege, you have to be a small business. The mentor protege also has to apply for this, and you also have to be a profit business and or an agricultural cooperative. And generally, there's no more than 2 mentors that can have. But and then what's the eligibility to be a mentor? You can live on here, or of course, you have to be a for-profit business, but then also carry out responsibilities to assist the community. And not able to be a leader on any federal list of being this part of the contract. And also the Bureau of Taxes, that's also not a exclude you from being a mentor, right? But also being assessed by good character. And then there's no more than 3 days you can have it at the same time. These are rules and regulations that you have to follow when you're participating in the nature of the voting. But also before you apply, you have to make sure that your business is registered and sound. And then also you have to decide whether your next proposed agreement is using your primary code or the secondary code under each scope. So both of these companies activities on the online tutorial and be able to take this class that you're actually complete to get your certification. But then also to be able to execute the mentor of OJ in the contract. But also you have to be ready to go on to certify and apply the MPP with using the program to identification number. But there's another program that we have available as well, the joint venture program. But also the program is not a match made program. The only thing is you're coming in to be able to match up with somebody else. And here's the requirements for the joint venture. The program is plan to make the joint venture approved by SWG as a mentor and be able to be eligible for the contract opportunities. You have to add your EEI number, identification number, and the page number. And then also SBA no longer used or remove the joint ventures or the ADA. That's another program that I'll be talking a little bit about as well. And the district office here, the office does approve the ADA sold or joint ventures. But also the joint ventures are for 2 years. But that 2 years does not start until you get your first contract. So it's not going to show up until you get that first contract. But here's another program that also we have available to small businesses and contractors, which is our surety bonding program. It's a guarantee program for small businesses that are looking to do bonding, and it also increases their bonding capabilities. But here's just the definition of a surety bond. You know, it's an instrument between surety contractor and bond owner. But how do you get started on the bonding program? One of the things you start out with is you have to request a surety bond where small businesses reaches out to an SBA authorized bond. And then the surety bond company partners with the business and goes over to SBA for the SBA to guarantee the bond. We also do that loans as well, but on this side is the bond. So SBA will guarantee the bonds, and then the benefit for the small business is now they're eligible to do more work with a bigger bond if it's. But that guarantee is, well, for the private sector and the government sector, our contracts can go up to 6.5 million. And for the direct federal contract, the minimum for the bond that we can guarantee is 20 million. But was this the contract for fee that SBA charges for the guarantee, which is 0.6. But also the premiums that the surety bond company charges will be separate from like the SBA charges. But it's a lot lower rate than you would find out at the market operator as well. Could be about contract depending on what it is. So that way you can be ready to bid, we can perform, pay the payment,
and also the events on the contract. But I'm talking about the table was to approval process. I quit and I did it down. I knew it like ASAP. We did calls like that all the time. So here we provide a 2-day turnaround for prior approval programs that are and support. And then through the one quick app, like the one that's 24 hours within 24-hour approval, but that's only for 5 million analysts. But the list is available to you as well. But I'm going to talk a little bit about certifications, some of the USACE certification programs that we have. One, APA, but development certification, the veteran-owned small business certification, veteran-owned small business certification, and the historically underutilized business zone program. But first of all, here, you don't have to be certified to be on a government contract. But SAM is just the place where you can go in and be able to look at the opportunities and sign up for it as well. There's also, if you see the government contract, the SAM profile is where we end up being. But the USD contracts are in the federal government, so it does provide a lot of useful information for us. But where do you go to apply to the certifications? You have to go to the website to my certifications, but find out, am I eligible? But then where do I apply for the application? But therefore, and then if you need to find out if you're in the hub zone, we have a hub zone application as well, let's take that to you. But there's some of the benefits for it. And also in programs, when you're on the website, all you do is just click on the bottom ones, depending on which certification you're looking to try to get. And you're thinking, well, is it one application for all of those? Yes, it is. So if you qualify for all 4 of those, it's on one application. That's the big thing that gets importance. But so we'll get into the AA program. So the AA program, this is a 9-year program that you get certified to be with the small business program. And it has to be 51% by minority owned by an individual, not a business. So it has to be an individual. Also, it must be a U.S. citizen, but or naturalization. But the 51% have to be also economically advantaged individual, and the individual controlling the firm have to be there full time. But you're at the part time. If you're in the program, you have to be there full time to be able to getting calls that in federal agency might call you during working hours. But also the small business had to be in business for at least 2 years. But yeah, business also has to be in the progress to be able to be successful. But we also show repetitive. But we're talking about the 2-year one. Is there any waivers that, a lot of small business saying, yeah, I started off as an about getting a new year. We're looking for 2 years past 2 times. If you don't have that, and we can look at a waiver and say, well, if you have all the management experience, but the technical expertise run is you have industry, also you have adequate capital for your business, you can do that. Also having successful passport quantities, the ability to use requirements. So these are the waivers that we can use if you haven't met that 2-year mark for the FDA program. But another requirement that we have is the net worth and personal assets. So your personal assets cannot be more than 6.5 million. And your personal income cannot exceed 400,000 at an average of 3 years. So if 1 year you have an exceptional year, you pay yourself 600,000, and the following year you pay yourself 100,000, then you're looking at the average over the 3 year. also, you got some assets, everybody goes to the net worth, and they're looking at it and say, well, my home's already $1 million. If the tax, proper tax, these never been going up, we're going to split your primary residence. So now we're switching over to the veteran-owned certifications. But certifications here, you have to do, the owner has to be certified by the Veterans of Carriage as a veteran or a service to capable veteran. But instead of having a small side for the small business side carriers that the FDA has, but less than 51% has to be owned by the veteran. But for the disabled veteran, 51% has to be controlled by the veteran or the spouse or the permanent caregiver. So that's also very important for those that are disabled veterans that are able to handle that for themselves. But you don't like getting more information on that? Here's the research department that we have that help you out with the application process, and they're available. But now we're switching over to the one-owned small business. But the one-owned small business we have is certification that's tied to 51% ownership requirement. But you also have to be at highest 8% in the business. But you also have to have the buffer skill. Now, in your own experience, the daily operation, you don't have to be the one in charge. But there is no time limit on this related to the certification. The 2-year program is not exist at this month. But you're talking about meeting the SBA size standards. That's part of it. Also for the window, you also have to be a U.S. citizen or naturalized. And of course, the woman has to make the long-term decision of the company. But of course, if the person has to be there full time, there is outside volume. But the very last program that we have is the household program. So the household program is you have to be under the underutilized area. Be able to provide opportunity to employment in the area, have an economic leverage, and also to be able to have a capital investment into that district for small business carrier. But there's a little bit more detail of the qualifications to put that also. The firms have to recertify annually. But for a period of 1 year, for school documentation will be required every 3 years. But also you have to be a small business by a small business standards. And also the principal office has to be located in the historical utilized area. But it's 35% of your employees have to come out as they're in the flow. And usually we have a person ask a long time, but what about if it's already and the other person that would be, well, it's already 50% if you live in the area, But it's so here for information on how you can get a little bit more detail and a lot of information on the small business administration and be able to provide some of our resources and information. But if you're starting a business, being able to business, expand the business, but we also have a lot of webinars that we do and we extend a lot of functions. If you're able to do that, and you have a newsletter or an email subscription, want to find out where SBA is, what kind of events we're doing, you can go onto our website and get more detail on that. And then we also have the letter for the meeting that always let me grow. We always have the event quarterly, where you can match up with a couple of different vendors to see if they're able to give you your objects and your Look here, my contact information, and I list information there as well to be able to contact if you have any questions or any information on SBA. but also reaching out to our resource partners who also help us out whenever we have times that are reaching out to us, asking questions, and ask all this. But I had to test. Thank you, Mr. Gomez.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to take a moment to remind you that your name badge is your access to the building and the grounds. So please, when we break the lunch with that, so we chat that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's up to you to welcome back to her and be a recruitment center representative.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to return for lunchtime. So I was just put it out there that a lot of the information that you will see in the slides, I will not go line by line or be slide by slide because it's a lot of difference in a lot of things. And my co-workers here, Mr. Jesus and Mr. Dennis, McIntyre have already went over a great deal of information. I will provide my information coming out to my email address. So let me give you my email address now. Let me know if you're ready to just show of hands if you have a finger in the video. So this is my name. The email address I will be providing to you all is Naija, my first name, N-I-J, H-E-A-R-D, my last name, but SBA.com. So any questions that you may have, please feel free to email them to me. I'm not one holder if you are on lunchtime or on the time, but just later on, but I know you're going to get questions. And I myself even have questions that I like. Just because of the changes with balance today may change in another month or two. And that's why even I could have questions at that time. So with the information that I need provide to you my time today, please ensure that you reach out to back today whenever you get back to your home office or workstation. Try to make sure I will respond as promptly as possible, and I won't be responding just before I unless my mind wants. So without further ado, I will be sure to legislative updates. So the legislative action that I'll be going over is actually from fiscal year 2025 up until now. Our fiscal year was started in 2026. So as the things that mentioned earlier in these slides, I'm going to share now of the our fiscal year 2026. So we're always in full strength. And with that being said, we're hopefully in our first quarter with the updates that kind of have some birthdays. So it's kind of certain things with the action where they're growing up and we see response, they're not flowing. So that's why I said you may have some questions, but I'll try to answer those later on in the track. Okay, this is that signed by our president with Section 824, producing compensation every federal contract to guidance on federal from commercial and non-government projects. Identify the area and these unfortunately benefits all leaders to the culture, 8 days of accelerators, which you have this begins back in the past year. They will include team members that was provided one to contact information about it, and office. And then prioritize the policy for cost, efficiency, and product quality. Lastly, project spectrum and cyber security training program. I did not include any language extended for the FBI or FTCR program for SBA, but you will see information going over in another couple of slides with the extension of SBA. So you start on by president with the order at this point in time. And by now, the under bill the Hydrogen program with a 1-year FDIR extension, with a reduced accuracy and certification system. The result of being offered from next word is that we have had a lot of changes with the health field. Fund based field where a lot of volunteers are happening that we have had to scale down with people that are retiring. So some of these hours will have to be consolidated. Next will be basically self-certified on technology concerns of the enrollment credit.
But
Introduction to extended hospitals, I will launching Paris all over the news as well as under the rules in that it makes those program in the AI. So then the audit continues to be ongoing. Reservation battle was that the fifth line medical hours will be to our oriented Mr. Heavy Speech on an expense and they are more than knowledgeable about the annual program and whether they're the experience on the can more those and rather some of know what it said I could be what they you really have happening.
but
Fan by line, one of the big you still ends. I know we really often every role. I try to do it. And it's under the insurance and active to find an increase to see like a little bit for the property and I mean year as for the property and then the national you can tell us if you're in construction. Around $150 million for the section fund with military capability, industrial readiness, near peer competitors. And the policy like about the guns like American athletes. And this combined for the arms work community portion of reconciliation and feel like it's called VOP like okay clear with all of that spoken about.
but
It's their passion. So this is more immediate policies and changes or operational shifts ordered by our president as it is based on its regulation on facts alone and anything that the suburb are against being affected the details of order by the day is an inapplicable time starting is good with 2026.
but
So I don't know. A couple of bullets here now not noise is everyone's figure out this changing. A lot have been revolved on referring so how do you make it might put you on to come here what you're saying here.
but
And these slides will be available to see why. And with their line here, they will be on the website of the technology.
but
They will spending that value and our picture as your peer with an working in the director's there. And one of these are it's computer combating. There's a little alarm and it does those working experience and our argument and I'm sure that obvious to get it and I'm assuming to get to be able to say. And so with that being said, a lot of the agencies are utilizing GSA. How many of you all are on GSA? Have GSA contracts? Oh, that's a good deal. Okay, so I'm myself setting some training as well. I'm learning as well, and well too, a lot of things are changing. I said GSA training board to for market research. So some of the things that they were saying, just market research, it used to be a part of 10. Let's say utilize, maximize some small businesses so that I'm going to stay practical. Now it's just market research. There's no clear my single large bring or secure. There's nothing to do right on the policy to set the market research. The Army, as well as other PCRs that ensure we did these small units coordination, that we are ensuring that small business accidents and when that those opportunities are available. And even with consolidation with the multi-forces and I recognize agencies are using it via like G waves, IT, and so forth. So I still would do those requirements that come from our agency. And I did not mention, excuse me, but I'll mention that to work again. The agencies that I felt here, I also felt the state of Louisiana, as the agencies there. And then I'm working with the East Coast. I'm an East Coast girl, so I'm from Atlanta, so I currently have 9 agencies in Philadelphia and in DC here. So I will give you that information as well in case you all are interested in more business or currently what it is on the agency now.
But
Consolidated federal procurement is basically your healthcare federal procurement companies and value your entity breaking. a lot of the small or less suitable companies are, it's an increase in lot of contracts. That's the gist of it. Particular why it to centralize the thing that centralized contracts. So those existing contracts that are GSA, I do see a lot more of those on the coordinating and boss, which is not bad. I hate to again, from my standpoint and what I am serving, it's to want to pay for the properties. So I try to make sure, like, okay, what are you doing? You're not utilizing small business for other opportunities to get paid for. And what are you need for? They're responding to you in the future. So they've been pretty much if you look down to the very last one was on the last business over the last minute, not be certain that the last time.
But
Commercial farm be right in there important.
but
Yeah, I won't go into all of the two topics a little bit, but I will say, Mr. Unit that mentioned there on the part 12, then the impression that's from out of there, or one of the part from 13, did she be correctly, it really gives people already stay the current year in your slide. But for the far right is commercial items, unless in the picture, executive inclusive exception. The rate 80% slavery for women actually within 68. For women and non-commercial solution, FTE will be effect on client, will have plenty of paper appropriate recommendations to identify commercial education. We found to integrate the border. And this is a right of federal acquisition, which can require put down far to those conditions that are required by parents, otherwise it's a fourth country in language time.
but
Far overall. Now the far overall we're going to see phase. The phase one is the aviation guide, and then the phase two is the formal united. The bars continue to stay there. We'll go forward again. I think we keeping out the NDR, so in contact with ECD for FGA, the coordinating for input of our partner team, because that's where a lot of the small business that for the information is at. And we have to give not only our input, but why this information should stay now, why this should not be run free. And if it is free rate, what way can we say without excluding the necessary information for small business, but as well as interpretation for our agency. So we, when I say we, we say we, procurement center representatives as well as other people in the RPA, ensure that we did our due diligence to advocate and make sure that small business have the forefront and a lot of the information for our concept and important to be of the information throughout the bar as it tends to small business. It's not listening. And I can't say guarantee contracts, because I'm not like when I hear people say, oh, I can guarantee good, but they have guarantee anything. But we can't guarantee that you have to be there and that you are heard and that you are staying and that it is proceeding. Federal line guide is the document that is updated on the exchange at the Peruvian, and that basically makes that change happen by saying for the update on a concept, if they're treated and based on our council, this part is out of the market on the this again here with at the beginning or the middle part of the condition combined the marketing index of people by how highly been updated maybe the same scenario.
But
recent FDA regulatory and authority law, I have to look, I'm a little short version, how long next 16 also if I rule, maybe it's very obvious, like the FDA regulatory action is the FDA final rules for the custom program. One of the founders for work to be certified, so the military or those who are with willing to be verified. The Department of Money with an application. Prior to the 5th year of each option, they have to our contract, and one specifically required by contracting officer or a commitment board. I'm not yet admitting of songs, but I thought, oh, I look at my mommy reported nation, but I have got calls inquiring or email about the verification or look on, so I'm myself, but I'm not legally. I do go and I look at the information on field on what their work in education, I'm going to put them both in because NCP, that I'm working with land-based, the answers I try to ensure that if I cannot answer it, I'll reach out to them. Or yeah, I'm looking at things actually or no. And no forward if you qualify for further skills occurs within 180 days.
But-
And they're going on.
but,
Forward, thank you, thank you. And then impact of disqualifying recertification, I do better with loud talking, so can you all hear me in the back? Okay, cool. Impact of,
Travis,
please.
it's going.
but,
Oh,
But-
it's okay.
but,
I'm loud. I have a 4-year-old, so I always have to get her attention. I have a 20-year-old that thinks she's 10 sometimes, so, hey, when your mom just got to get Jack Bob training.
but,
And you want it? You know what I mean? Okay, cool. Okay, the impact of being qualifying recertification. Single award contract and continue performing contract quality qualifying for Oxford in order. Then you're multiple award contracts. There are individuals who satisfy this holders. I should have to disqualify recertification involving large business on main eligible for unrestricted orders on an agency cannot travel order in a small business award. Contract officer requested a deal may request recertification for a specific order. By determining as a date of office, date of item for that specific order only, and recertification applies only to that order, not underlying the contract.
but,
SBA proposed for time standard volunteer. The time standard, the comment period is already closed, but if it is volunteer 13 months, they're paid 5 months as a part of the third year review of time standard. SBA has proposed it for 248 of it closed and 513 and retain the rest at their current level. So when it's their current level, so for next code that are services, those are that dollar. The next code that have to apply is connected to employees. So the top 3 for NBA today knowledge is the 541-330 engineering services. I need y'all with 541-330 to come. Right here. Okay. There. And then 541-611 general consulting, and then 561-612 security guard. SBA would not lower any time standard except for including dominant firms for qualifying its own. For regulatory action, the final rules are application for the board management. Pre-registered requirement. Offer must be registered on standby bill at time of open commission and at the time of contract award. That is not required to be registered in between those 2 points in time.
but,
Part 19 on is called, and this is where I was playing like 5 years ago. We were went into the business, young, not really young, journey and put them on the bar, continuing to do it every time. So we will retain rules to the change for the ADA program regarding to competition, our Sioux, Michigan, and this main preliminary live. Party was on business website, and lead for a husband, and but I think people that are small business, that were and it says, I'm like this bar, I'm young, sorry. The ministry over small business saying, I don't say the ministry, it's more so.
but,
Done. What I have seen is some of the activities that I work with agencies, like even my peers mentioned that small business specialists, they are being left out because of some of the parts of the rewrite. So we have to redirect them, and especially for me, and especially my peers, if we get a response to the contracting activity, I send them back to the small business specialist, because that is who I work closely with. And that part of the file rewrite where we say, no, we are important to the agency, small business is important to the agency, but also the small business professions, because we all work hand in hand. We are advocates for you all as small business. So it says the mentioned role. I've only seen it very few. Some of my peers have seen it a little bit more than I have, but I won't say the roles are diminishing. I'll just say they're realigned.
But-
More small business changes allows for SBR phase 3 sole source, cuts out small business, especially acquisition planning reviews.
But-
Must use best in class required for use of contracts. Simplified acquisition procedures for all commercials, 7.5 million. Now only non-commercial, allows for BPAs on multi-awards and IDIQ contracts. Now, this is the most important slide, and I think this is the one that is probably near and dear for everyone, so you all know the threshold, right? So this is the final micro purchase threshold for the fiscal year 2026, as it pertains to the FAR. For micro purchase threshold, it used to be 10K, now it's for 15K. For a simplified acquisition procedure, if it's just threshold, excuse me, it was 250,000, now it's 350,000. For commercial, it used to be 7 million, now it's 9 million. For the 8A justification threshold for civilian agency sole source awards to entity-owned participants and certain other sole source awards, it used to be 25 million, now it is 30 million. For subcontracting plan threshold, it was 750K for services, now it's 900K. For what was 1.5 million for last year, but now it's 2 million for subcontracting. 8A sole source threshold from last year was 4.5 million, and 7 million for manufacturing, now is 5.5 million, and 8.5 million for manufacturing. Hub zone, I don't know if you all can see because of the line. Sole source threshold was 4.5 million for services and 7 million for manufacturing, now is 5.5 million. And 8.5 million for manufacturing. Service disabled, veteran-owned, small business sole source threshold was 4 million for services. Now it's 5 million for services. It was 7 million for manufacturing. Now it is 8.5 million for manufacturing. For women-owned small business, sole source threshold, it was 4.5 million for services, 7 million for manufacturing last year. Now it's 5.5 million for services and 8.5 million for manufacturing.
But
Revolutionary FAR overhaul. These slides is just a summary of what you all have seen, or again, Dennis or Hastings have went in a little into detail, if not covered. I will go through the slides. Again, I will not read from the slides, but I will just show the updates and some of the changes. I will recommend everyone that want to utilize these slides, please go back to the FAR to make sure what you're seeing in the slide, even though it's valid today, if you go back and use it, let's say for March or April, there may be something has changed. So please, please, please go back and reference the points that are in the FAR that is represented, whether it's FAR Part 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So the FAR overhaul, it talks about the federal acquisition regulations. So it says the practitioner admin, I think I've heard Dennis that he utilized that and was recommending it to you all. This gives a clear interpretation. This is the definition of the words and term. FAR Part 2. The FAR Part 3 talks about the improper business practice and personal conflict of interest. FAR Part 4 is administrative information matters. FAR Part 5, publicizing contract actions. If you click on the hyperlink, it'll take you directly to that area that has the changes that have been made under that part of FAR. FAR Part 6, competition requirements. FAR Part 7, acquisition planning. FAR Part 8, required sources and supplies and services. FAR Part 9, contractor qualifications. FAR Part 10, market research. Now, market research, I'm just gonna touch on this because this is what when I'm working with the agency that I work with, which is Army Corps, and then when I'm talking to small businesses and I'm doing in-kind counselors with WBEA, and I'm talking to small businesses about market research, in that part of FAR, it used to say utilizing small businesses to the maximum extent practical. Now it no longer says that. It just says market research. And someone asked me, market research for who? Well, market research for the agency. Again, this is where those changes and those languages, even though it says to simplify, to be clear and communicate, but anyone can do market research. When I think of market research, when everyone goes out, and I'm just stopping because this is, to me, is the most important thing out of these slides, but I can give you an example on. When you go out and you purchase a car, you don't just go out and buy your car, the first car you get or come to a sales lot. If you go to Toyota, you go to Acura, you go to the Lexus, you're not just, and you have specific specifications that you want in your car, right? Well, out of those specifications, then you start to look at your price. You're looking at your price, you're gonna have your high, your low, your mid. To me, that's what market research, a part of it is what it's for. You're not just gonna go out and spend 80,000 for a Toyota Corolla. Like, seriously, you spend 80,000 for a Toyota Corolla, unless you got money like that. And if you do, but for us as government employees, we are to be good stewards over taxpayers' dollars. And for me, I'm paying my taxes like the rest of everybody else. So please, when I use part of my tax money to go buy a Toyota Corolla for $80,000, you're going to do your market research. You're going to do price comparison. You're going to do specifications. You're going to look at a listing of things. So I am still enforcing market research with the contracting activity and for our small businesses. So they ensure, like, are you getting what you pay are fair and reasonable? But if we're not looking just at the price, are they technically acceptable? Can they work? Can they perform? Because when you start just doing market research and don't have a clear direction of why you're doing it, you could possibly end up with anything. You could possibly end up overspending. I've been a contracting officer before I was even doing this. And I've seen people submitting proposals for cost construction and somebody from engineering like, oh, they're so good, they're awesome. But from the business standpoint, I'm looking like, what is this? They're not even responsive. And then we end up trying to help them become responsive. And then guess what ends up happening? When they get the contract, you get what you pay for. You get all these things, and they could be good at their service, but we also need to make sure that we're going through this process and making sure we're selecting the best candidate or the person who can provide you what you need. They don't have to be at the cheapest by far any means, but they don't have to be at the highest. Need to be at fair and reasonable. I'm giving that example as a form of one aspect of market research. But then to also be able to open doors for small businesses and to see who's out there. If I'm not pushed to do for small business, then I'm going to bypass you. And I don't want to do that. And I'm not going to do that. I'll be honest. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to always stay true to our market research. And I'm going to still follow the new guidance, but I'm going to also continue to be an advocate to you all with it. And that's all my soapbox. That was personal, dear fellow. So FAR Part 16, the type of contracts, there's some changes. So you'll see the hyperlink in there. FAR Part 17, special contracting methods. FAR Part 18, emergency acquisition. The FAR Part 19, you'll consider there next. Small business, so definitely just working on that. So click the on the hyperlink, they'll take you to those changes. And FAR Part 22, applications of labor law for government acquisition. I'll just go and read the FAR Part 23, sustainable acquisitions, material safety solutions, FAR Part 24, protection, privacy, and freedom of information, FAR Part 25, foreign acquisitions, FAR Part 26, other social economic programs, 27, patent data and copyright. I'm not going to keep moving now, just click on the slides, but it's pushing for time. And we haven't had any legislative updates in a long time, I'll tell you that. So all these slides that you see here normally wouldn't be as many, but because of all the changes, there have been changes to each part of the each section. Contract modifications, outfunded. There's been changes on that. That's if you have existing contracts, please make sure you go look at the changes for the modifications. Subcontracting policies and procedures, I would say look for those too if you already have an existing contract with any federal agency. Government property, quality assurance, transportation. Engineering, termination of contract. There's some changes in that area. Extraordinary contractual actions and safety act. And then there's the reserve, the solicitation provisions and the contract clauses. Forms have been changed. And part of the streamlining FAR into two phases, as I mentioned, the deviation guidance with phase 1 and phase 2, the deployment rulemaking OSQP will conduct the formal ruling process using the notice and comments process that codified and set. So again, on this this bullet right here, phase 2, some of this has already been closed windows for any comments, but still go back into the slide. If you have any questions, and you know you have a specific question, if you could just leave it up, and I'll try to get the answer. If I don't know the answer, we'll work it together. Then there's the Fire Companion version 2.0. Other resources, it is a full RFO text bar. Click on that, they'll take you directly to that site. The acquisition policy library resources from GSA, and then the fire overhaul supplement. Revolutionary fire overhaul, I'm just gonna bypass through RFO because again, this one gives a little bit more detail in language. What has been changed? But you can use the slide again as a reference. This just gives you the specifics on the back particular part of the FAR. Well, I mentioned their practitioner album. If you click, it'll give you this information, which is the summary of what change have occurred under that section. Now, fire overhaul fire part 8 requires services of supplies and requires sources of supplies and services. Excuse me. Simplifies the inventory source guidance. It has a new clarify the government prevents and the class on mandatory is now removed and focus on ability 1 for 1. The move part 8.455 405-5, which provide POs discretion identified orders or BPAs for small business programs preserved for the consideration of small businesses, but non-mandatory sources to satisfy supplies and services. So there's a chart over here that you can kind of see that was made from our legal counsel office, just to kind of give you a visual. And then what's required using the class that is separate from the date there, which is known as the what is the acronym here for? Excuse me. Big stands for the best in class. And will be mandatory. Big will be prioritized, but not mandatory. Part 23, the changes for that overhaul and the summary of it. So now we're down to almost the last slide, the FAR companion guide. The FAR covers parts 1 through 51. I'm not gonna say every last one. Serves as a supplement guide. The FAR companion is non-regulatory, contains no mandate, and is not intended to serve as a basis for process or legal action. Do not use that part of FAR companion. SBA announcements, the new websites and guides, SBA certifications, which Jesus has already went over in detail. The Small Business Search is live, which replaces DSBS. How many of you all know what DSBS stands for or know of, heard of DSBS? Okay. Dynamic Small Business Search, that's what we utilize to locate small businesses and managed by GSA. So for PCRs and contracting activities or agencies with small business activity, we go there to do our aspects of market research, but it is now being replaced with a different, this called Small Business Search Help Guide, the Small Business Search. So when you utilize this link and you want to register or add your company information in there, you can. 8A announcement, SBA orders all 8A participants provide financial records. This at ASUS, and Mr. McIntosh kind of covered over that a little bit, or did not mention it. And then 8A, that's for 5-day calls. SBA issues letter warning federal contracting offices for U.S. Small Business Administration. SBA reinstates rules to require federal contracting to work, Small Business Administration. And what's the here? This concludes the legislative updates. I know it's a lot. I do not want to read slide by slide because there again will bore you all, but you will have these slides to reference when you get back home or you have questions for work or just in regards to the FAR itself when you're responding to announcements, or you just need to know what changes have been made, especially if you already have existing contracts that for subcontracting rules are just modifications. This will be a key reference instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. But again, make sure when you utilize these slides that you're going to the hyperlink that's pointing you back to the far side view, which has the most current update. And for FYI, if I were you all, because it is forever changing, I would put a placeholder, I would bring it out with the date, because it could be valid today and be something different in another month. And it's not to discourage you, but it's just to help you as you're doing business for your company and making sure that you're in compliance with whatever existing contract or solicitation announcement that is out. That concludes my presentation for today. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Galveston District Industry Day. Please welcome to the stage Ann Young, Southwestern Division and Galveston District Senior Procurement Analyst. Come up, Pete.
Good afternoon, everyone. Should all be able to hear me? Welcome back from lunch. My name is Ann Young. I serve as a senior procurement analyst here with the Galveston District, and I'm pleased to be able to share with you a few hot topics that not only impact the contracting directorate workforce here at USACE, but also you, our industry partners.
Green. Got it.
Within the next hour, I'm going to cover the following 3 areas of interest: the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, otherwise known as CMMC, the Revolutionary File Overhaul, the RFO, as well as the USACE Engineering Pamphlet, the EP 71517. While we are not going to explore a deep dive into these 3 topics, I am going to provide you a general summary for each item, their current status in terms of implementation, and what these areas of interest mean for you. First off, CMMC. Its purpose is outlined and prescribed under the DFAR supplement, which provides the policies and procedures for including CMMC requirements in Department of War contracts. So what is CMMC? CMMC is a Department of War cybersecurity assurance framework that verifies contractors have implemented required safeguards to protect federal contract information, which is FCI, and controlled unclassified information on their non-federal owned information systems. The policy for CMMC applies to all unclassified contractor information systems that handle sensitive government data. It does not replace any other security requirements included within current solicitations or your contract awards. So why are we here? Why CMMC? The Department of War faces elevated cyber risk to mission execution due to inconsistent compliance with defense cybersecurity mandates governing FCI, CUI, and the current cybersecurity maturity model certification requirements. Understand that the CMMC program unifies various cybersecurity standards into a single framework, and it shifts the defense industrial base from a self-assessment model to one that's going to require third-party verification for most contractors. Cybersecurity is one of our top priorities. Likewise, the defense industrial base faces increasingly frequent and complex cyber attacks. To strengthen the defense industrial base cybersecurity and better protect the Department of War information, the DoD and the Department of War developed the CMMC program. CMMC's primary goal is to safeguard 2 types of unclassified information. I've outlined them earlier. It's the FCI and the CUI. So let's talk a little bit more about what is controlled unclassified information. It is sensitive, government-related, unclassified information requiring safeguard. It's commonly including PII, personally identifiable information, proprietary business data, export control data, as well as technical military data. Remember that CUI is a control marking. It is not a classification. It is not like secret and top secret SCI. Information that requires identification, marking, safeguarding is pursuant to laws, regulations, or government-wide policies. CUI is sensitive. Remember, it's not, it is unclassified, but like federal contract information, it warrants protection, just a higher time. So CUI may be generated by the government or for the government. It is also generated by and for the defense industrial base. CUI is sensitive information that does not meet the criteria for classification, as I mentioned earlier, but it still must be protected. So one of the things that helps us understand the categories of CUI is they do organize the information that is exchanged and transmitted into various categories. PII is something we're probably very familiar to, personally identifiable information. These are things like social security numbers, home addresses actually, personal financial records, and personnel files. There is also sensitive, personally identifiable information that includes medical records or detailed personal data requiring enhanced protection. So understand that there are multiple categories. We also have things like law enforcement information, controlled technical information. These would be things like technical data on military or space applications, engineering drawings, and specifications. Any legal and procurement data is considered CUI. Anything that endures active litigation, those documents, any audit reports, and contract bidding information is considered CUI. FCI is federal contract information. So this is primarily information that is not intended for public release. It is also provided by or generated for the government under a contract to develop or deliver a product or service. So some examples of FCI include contractual and financial records, project and technical documentation, any correspondence and communications that we have in connection with a solicitation or a contract are also considered federal contract information. Internal reports and data. So when we talk about progress reports on our projects, status updates, and configurations or design data, that is also considered FCI. So the FCI is generally distinguishable between CUI in that FCI refers to more of a broader category of non-public information, while CUI is once again specifically marked sensitive government information. CMMC status, which is something you heard a little bit earlier today from Mr. McIntosh, it is assigned after an assessment is conducted on the protection levels required by a contractor in connection with a project. Here's the bottom rule. If you do not achieve a CMMC status, you are ineligible for contract award. So it is very important, just like Mr. McIntosh mentioned earlier, we're gonna get some help. It will be prescribed in the solicitation and the ensuing contract exactly what that CMMC status needs to be. But it is imperative. So similar to our vendors who are very familiar with how they conduct business with the government, you have to be registered in SAM. You have to maintain that registration. Your CMMC status will also have to be reaffirmed and maintained on a routine basis. So when did CMMC start? When it started back in, the rule was finalized in October of 2024. But implementation, as you recall or learned earlier this morning, it started 10 November of 2025. There is a phased implementation. We are currently in phase 1. So our phase 1 implementation, if you remember or recall the slide that Mr. McIntosh had up, it was CMMC level 1 and level 2, where at this time you were actually conducting some self-assessments. As we progress forward, we will enter into the level 3 stage. That will happen over the course of several years. So information security zone, it's an internal document. The specific CMMC level required will be specified in your solicitation and your ensuing contract. So any organization that works as a prime contractor or a subcontractor on Department of War contracts and handles either FCI or CUI will be required to obtain and maintain a CRMC certification. And of course, at the level that is designated in the solicitation. Contractors must hold that current CMMC status for the life of the contract. Most importantly, you have to establish that status for any and all systems that transmit that information on an information system. So if you have multiple systems, they all have to be protected with the appropriate level for CMMC. Mr. McIntosh mentioned earlier this morning, we use PI, Procurement Integrated Enterprise Environment. So within PI, we have a module, and CMMC is the module that we access to actually explore and review and actually conduct the assessments. So what does it mean for our contracting officers when it comes to CMMC enforcement? Number one, contracting officers have to include the requirement for CMMC and the appropriate level in the solicitation. They also have to verify, just like we do in SAM.gov, to make sure that you are registered in SAM, that you're not debarred, you're not suspended. You're going to have to do the same thing with the CMMC affirmation, the same thing with the CMMC status. They have to verify before award. They also have to verify for extensions. So if we are exercising any options on a contract that were previously evaluated and now we're going to exercise that option, we still have to check to make sure that that CMMC status is maintained. So phase 1 implementation began 10 November of 2025. Beginning 10 November of 2026, where applicable, solicitations will require the Level 2 certification, so on and so forth. Come phase 3, which is supposed to roll out beginning 10 November of 2027, again, where applicable, the solicitations will include. So here is the linchpin. On 10 November of 2028, all solicitations and contracts awarded will include applicable CMMC level requirements as a condition of contract award. So just remember that. Now, for current awards, if you're wondering, well, I just received an award, or I'm looking at responding to a solicitation or a request for proposal that was issued prior to 10 November of 2025, there are no requirements to include CMMC. Okay? Contracting has to check the contractor compliance through that with their self-assessments and through that portal in that supplier performance risk system. That's what Mr. McIntosh was talking about this morning. We have to do that prior to award and after award. So what's the roll-out plan? Well, first of all, the implementation of CMMC is phased, as I mentioned earlier, and it is managed by 2 specific clauses. The provision provides you what's called the notice. This is the heads-up provision in the solicitation that alerts bidders that CMMC requirements are included. So, for those who are a little bit more familiar with how the actual regulations work in terms of the supplements, you probably notice that shows a DFARS clause under 204. The requirements for cybersecurity and other security requirements are going to be funneled under FAR 40. That is a key move that is happening as a result of the revolutionary FAR overhaul. So if it looks a little awkward to you, it's intentional. All right, so they're going to move that under FAR Part 40, but that is where we actually find the provision, and it's where we actually find the clause. So the clause is your requirements clause to ensure that you have to abide by the CMMC level certification that is required by the contract. You have to reaffirm that status on a routine basis. I believe it's annually, and you have to maintain it throughout the life of the contract. So until now, 9 November of 2028, the clause is inserted into the contract, and then a program office or the required activity specifically requires a certain level of certification. And then starting 10 November, all of them will apply. So in summary, so not all government contracts at this time deal with FCI and CUI, but we need to make sure that there is proper handling for CUI and FCI data. The contract language is absolutely important, and that is going to be reiterated and emphasized throughout my presentation this afternoon, because with all the other things that are changing, we must not be complacent. Do not look at one solicitation to expect that is going to be exactly like the last one that you reviewed, that you responded to or not. They will look different. So be on the lookout for these key requirements that you are now held to and bound by. We're also going to ensure that we avoid duplicating requirements. So there's some carryover between the NIST and the CMMC. So it's our job The government is the drafter of the document. We're the drafter of that solicitation. So it is on us. It is our responsibility. So we're going to do our best to avoid duplicating requirements. So again, 10th November 2025 is the trigger date. Moving on to the next topic, the revolutionary fire window hall. What does it mean for our industry partners? So similar to what was kind of discussed this morning, I'm going to enlighten you with a few other key details and pretty much reiterate, not necessarily reiterate what was briefed this morning. You're going to hear some more information, but this is why these are hot topics. It just kind of happened this way. But the presenters all were keyed into some of the same very key interests, things that are happening within the acquisition directorate. So there have been a multitude of executive orders issued in connection with acquisition reform. On 15 April of 2025, Executive Order 14275 was issued, and the journey to restoring common sense to federal procurement began. Why is the FAR being overhauled? Well, for decades, the FAR has grown into a complex web of rules. The RFO, driven by that executive order, aims to untangle the web. So we're in a paradigm shift, everyone. Instead of asking, does the rule allow us? We're now encouraged to ask, does the rule prohibit this? This fundamental change means we can be more agile and tailor procurements to the specific needs of a project. For you and for us, it means the way we've always done it is no longer a reliable guide. What is the purpose of the RFO and how is it being implemented? I'm going to cover some key purposes and impacts of the overhaul, which include, number one, simplification, stripping away excessive, outdated, and non-statutory regulations, focusing only on rules required by law for those that are essential for sound, agile procurement. We're looking at speed and efficiency, reducing the bureaucracy to shorten procurement timelines. We're also looking at laying sports under the revolutionary FAR in the whole plain language, rewriting the FAR to be clearer and more accessible. We also are adopting an operational shift. We're moving from non-mandatory, non-regulatory content into separate, flexible buying guides. That's what we're talking about, the practitioner allies that we heard about earlier today. We're modernizing the FAR because it's required. We need to update the rules to better align and support the technology adaptation and adoption that we've seen over decades. So the RFO is being implemented through two coordinated and parallel tracks. It's a two-track process. Track one focuses on rewriting the FAR in plain language and removing non-statutory content, while track two develops non-regulatory, tech-enabled buying guides. It is a phased approach. The overhaul began with the issuance of model deviation text for various FAR parts. And right now we are in the phase where there is formal notice and comments being collected in order to close the letter making during the course of fiscal year 2026. So it's a rolling implementation. Some of the key changes, the overhaul aims to reduce the number of regulations, as I mentioned earlier. It includes a focus on cutting commercial contracting clauses and implement a 4-year sunset clause for non-statutory provisions. All right, so it is rolling. There are 53 parts in the FAR, so it is a massive undertaking. After they rewrote the majority of the FAR, then they had to issue class deviation text, and that's the era we're in right now. So for the Department of War, for every corresponding FAR product that was substantially changed, you have model deviation text that informs the Department of War acquisition personnel. How does it affect us in implementing the statute in the law beyond the federal acquisition regulation? The key here is to try and focus on efficiency. The overhaul emphasizes the shift toward value-based buying, faster acquisition times, and increased competition. So the overhaul is meant to be a living document with ongoing changes aiming for a more agile and effective acquisition system. What does it mean for our contracting officers? It's increased contracting officer discretion. So contracting officers are now encouraged to tailor solicitations and take calculated risks. So what does that mean for you, our industry partners? You can expect there is going to be more variation between procurements and contracting offices. The buying guides, they replace the hard rules. So there are many non-statutory regulations being replaced through the use of buying guides, these practitioner albums that Ms. Hurd mentioned earlier this morning. The buying guides represent what we call soft requirements or best practices. They're not necessarily mandatory checklists. And then you may remember, well, what's this 4-year sunset that Aaron is talking about? So here's what's going to happen. Any non-statutory rules that are still embedded in the regulations that were cleaned up, they're automatically going to be removed. So they will automatically expire after 4 years unless the FAR Council renews them. This slide basically just gives you a nice table on some key aspects and the changes as a result of those aspects. So when we look at the regulatory framework, what does that mean under the RFO? The regulatory framework set forth a long time ago was very, very prescriptive. And so now they're going to loosen that because the regulatory FAR overhaul is intended to capture the implementation required to uphold the laws that were written in the United States Code. The regulatory sunset, as I mentioned, if it isn't managed, it will sunset, it won't be managed. Commercial products. We talked about that a little bit this morning. There's going to be a stronger emphasis for the acquisition of commercial products and services. We'll actually see some items now being registered as commercial buys instead of even construction. All 53 parts are being revised. So it's, like I said, a massive undertaking. They go clauses and provisions. Those are changing too. So what do these acquisition changes and timelines mean for the Army Corps of Engineers? Depicted here are those key changes in acquisition timelines resulting from the RFO and their adoption and execution by the USACE. So most importantly, at the bottom timeline there, we have the FAR, the RFO is complete. Right now, they are implementing the class deviations. We started with class deviations effective 1 February in 2026. There were additional deviations that came down right at the middle of February. So the DFARS was executed in January. We adopted it, started employing it in February. The AFARS, our Army Federal Acquisition Regulation Supplement, that is due to be updated come the second and third quarter of fiscal year 26. And then for the Army Corps of Engineers, we have what's called a USACE Acquisition Instruction and a USACE Desk Guide. And eventually, that guide, that manual that our procurement professionals utilize, that will be updated as well. And the plan right now is for fourth quarter fiscal year 26. Just note that those timelines will change because there are impacts. And it's a trickle-down effect. It's a domino effect. So if things are changing when we are at go stage, then that is going to delay or expedite other changes that happen along the way. So it's monumental. So you ask yourself, how will this affect me? Well, in some cases, it's intended to reduce administrative burden. And what I mean by that is the RFO aims to eliminate over 1,000 non-statutory burdensome requirements, streamlining the contracting process. We should have increased flexibility and discretion. With a shift toward more broader principles rather than rigid rules, our contracting officers have more discretion, which may create inconsistency across agencies. So sometimes, well, we're not in a framework where everything is rigid and logical, and we give left and right limits that are a lot wider than they were, you're going to see disparity. And that can cause a lot of frustration for those who might be in that type A personality like me. We work in a very linear fashion, step by step. Don't go to step 2 before you have completed step 1. Okay? Do not pass gold. Okay? So that can be very frustrating. We should have faster, more commercial procurement. The overhaul encourages adopting commercial taxes, buying living services faster, particularly new entrants like small business. We're also going to shift in solicitation and evaluation with key changes, including a greater focus on highest technically rated offers. Remember that buzzword, highest technically rated offers, and more open and direct negotiations. Those are specifically called out in Factor 15. Here's what it also means for you. Increased need to be vigilant. Due to the use of class deviations, contractors, our industry partners, prospective authors and contractors, you must closely monitor SAM.gov for changes. As contracting covenants, they become, and I guarantee you, they will become less uniform. What action do I have right now, you ask, as a small business or a large business or industry partner? You don't have any formal action per se. But what you need to do, I impress upon you to monitor the deviations under the Revolutionary Fire Overhaul tab that is in acquisition.gov. You're going to look there for the changes in how clauses are applied to solicitations. Adapt internal processes that exist within your organization by updating compliance and proposal systems to match the new, leaner, outcome-oriented FAR structure. Engage with contracting officers, be mindful, of course, of procurement integrity, and actively consult with contracting officers to understand how they are applying the new flexible guidelines. Some takeaways, because it is a challenge, but we have to perceive it as an opportunity. The article introduces a very steep learning curve, not only for industry, but understand your contracting workforce. This is extremely steep. 40 years. It has been 4 decades since the FAR has been overhauled. So patience is a virtue. And I'm not a very patient person, so I'm in a real struggle. But we're going to have, it's a steep learning curve. It's new simplified terminology. There's removal of specific communications, categories expanded like clarifications for those who have operated under the contracting by negotiation environment. There's going to be negotiations replacing discussions. So some of the terminology out there is going to go away. All right. Mixed environments to make matters even more complex and exciting. You're going to have different offices operating not only with the current FAR, but the Revolutionary FAR overhaul, because it's implemented, it's a phased implementation. So if it appears like it's going to be a little bit of a cluster, I can guarantee you it's going to be a cluster. I mean, let's just face it, right? But we're going to see it we're going to navigate these, what we may consider troubled waters, like pun intended, right now, but we will get through it, okay? Change is good. Change is necessary. It's a must. There is an increased emphasis on rationale-driven documentation to protect against protest risks. So it requires a shift in how contracting officers justify their decisions. Leaving off, just similar to the government, just remember, contractors, our industry partners, you face a learning curve to adapt to new fines requirements and faster, more streamlined processes. We get it. We understand. We're here to work this together. What helps you frame or involve yourself in that framework for success? Proactive communication is key. Focus on mission outcomes and stay informed. That's the biggest thing. Now, we have sent you, thousands of links within the course of the last several presentations, but that's how you stay informed. Well, the Revolutionary Fire Overhaul, what I will share with you, acquisition.gov is the official federal acquisition regulation. So acquisition.gov is where you need to go, right? They've made it pretty easy because I've had to navigate it too. Imagine that. So when you go out to acquisition.gov, there are tabs there for the existing FAR and all the supplements. And then you have an RFO tab, that Revolutionary Fire Overhaul. It breaks down all of the 53 parts, and then underneath each part, it'll show agency deviations. And we know you don't just work with the Army Corps of Engineers or the Army. You may be doing work and pursuing work with the Navy, with the Air Force, with the Marines, maybe GSA, I mean, there's all different organizations and agencies out there, and they're all compacted by this. Okay, so you gotta look at the representative agency abbreviations. So on this slide, I'm just sharing with you some key links that you can access. Some are a little bit easier to navigate than others. So we pick and choose, you know, where you'd like to find the information. But I will tell you, the source really begins at acquisition.gov. All right, moving on to the last topic for this session. I'm going to outline the key changes and additions included in the revised and restructured EP, which is engineering pamphlet of 71517. It was issued 12 January 2026, and it supersedes a 14-year-old version, which was dated 12 February 2012. Now, here's the caveat. It is important to note that this pamphlet, I will guarantee you, will likely undergo subsequent revisions. Why? Because this pamphlet has been in the works for nearly 3 years. Okay? It takes a long time to renovate and restructure key guidance. And so when they started it, the RFO wasn't a thing, right? So they're going to have to adopt and adjust accordingly, but it is definitely, it underwent an extensive overhaul, major revision. And so just be mindful that it is going to change. And that's resulting from the RFO. So pay close attention specifically to FAR Part 36. Because that's where construction and architect and engineering in the federal government is captured. Make sure that you're also looking at all corresponding supplemental adjustments. The AP 71517 defines the related roles and responsibilities of the government and AE firms in the planning, acquisition, and management of AE contracts for USACE. This table here depicts a comparison between the 2012 and 2026 versions, and it focuses on 4 following features. Structure. We're moving from linear to modular. So linear is generally less flexible and higher pressure, while modular offers increased efficiency, lower cost, and flexibility. Number 2, new chapters. Guess what? There's 3 of them. Chapter 3 is set up specifically for small business. Chapter 6 for all task order awards, and Chapter 8 is what we call construction phase services, something that's now been included in the EP in the past. They also overhauled the appendices, and those appendices offer specific guidance. So the sample on the right-hand side there talks about streamlined and updated examples and guidance for environmental and geospatial services. So now it has been located on our specific appendix. Clarity. What do we mean by clarity? The glossary of terms has been developed rather than embedded definitions within the pamphlet content. What are some new and emphasized topics? Like I said, Chapter 3 has been added and specifically outlines through 7 sections the process and procedures for small business planning and participation in AE contract acquisitions and task orders. Chapter 6 has also been added. It outlines through 15 sections, mind you, the process for announcement, selection, negotiation, and award of task orders. Another key aspect in the changes are the primary and secondary criteria that we use when it comes to evaluation criteria. So when we talk about evaluation criteria, way our AE solicitation department developed is we pick from primary criteria, and there it's very specific, and we don't have ability to move the primary criteria into a secondary criteria element. We can move the criteria in the category of primary around, but we can't move it to the secondary portion. So what do you mean by that? Primary criteria are listed in the order of importance, which is usually most appropriate. However, they may be ordered differently as appropriate for specific contracts. So there are 6 specialized criteria that we can ask for. Specialized experience and technical competence, that would be number 1. Professional qualifications, that would otherwise be number 2. Past performance, capacity, knowledge of the locality, and also any other appropriate selection criteria that the government deems is appropriate. So those criteria That's what you're going to see in future AE solicitations. Now, the order of that criteria, may be organized a little bit differently, but that's what represents the primary criteria. Your secondary criteria will be small business commitment, geographic proximity, and the volume of contract awards. Most important to know, so our SF330s for our AE contracts, standard Form 330s, that's where, the process starts, right? It's like your capabilities package. It's where they see your qualifications. The Federal Acquisition Regulation before the RFO didn't really require or mandate that the SF330s had to be updated. It was suggested, highly encouraged. Guess what? The EP is now going to require, and it is necessary. The standard annual update process involves substituting existing information with more recent information. It is not an additive process whereby a firm gets to add their qualifications beyond what was originally required in the synopsis. Okay? Why do we do this? Why is it necessary? You're asking one more thing I've got to update on an annual basis. Start creating a checklist. This maintains the original synopsis requirements of qualifications from which firms were selected to ensure that they maintain the integrity of the competition in the multiple award task order contracts. So that's really imperative for all AE contracts, but it's something that we really look into when we're talking about multiple award task order contracts. Why? Because when we go out with a request for proposal for a task order under that pool, we're competing amongst the pool holders, those placeholders, those METOP holders. So make sure that you're doing your SF330 updated handbook. It is to your benefit to make sure that you're demonstrating and providing us the latest and greatest information, obviously within the confines of the original synopsis. All right, so the next couple slides are here to outline and it changes to 4 chapters that will already contain the EP. But it is most important to note that a summary of the changes within the chapter and the new actions added to the chapter are now present. Take a moment here to review the sections and the summary of changes. All right, so for acquisition planning, highlighted what are the impactful changes. Acquisition planning was there, but how is it changed? Okay, remember, it was a 14-year-old version. It just got updated. What are some of the new actions? There is mandatory work in research and coordination with small business professionals. It's no longer optional. It's mandatory for the Corps of Engineers. The formal documentation on the Rule 2 analysis has to be included in the acquisition plan. So these are some key differences. And a lot of that comes because of corrective action. A lot of that comes from self-identifying that we have some weaknesses. We have some deficiencies. Let's clean up our act. On the selection process, we're looking at continuing to use the primary and secondary criteria, but obviously, like I mentioned, the primary criteria is the criteria. They can organize it within the primary category, but they can't eliminate it, and they cannot give it to the secondary status. New action enforcing the no numerical scores. Now, I have never been party to an acquisition for AE contracting, probably the correlation with that we did numerical scoring, but the same here is that eliminated, and it's no longer allowed. The next slide just captures the last 2 chapters that underwent changes. So what do these changes mean for you? As a result of the changes in processes and procedures, you can expect differences to the content contained in our AE solicitations. The documentation of the issue, the documentation of the action request, and the exchanges in connection with the AE contracts and the negotiation activities leading to contract award. Small business planning, I told you there were 3 chapters that were added as the EP. So let me summarize a little bit of what's going on with this chapter because it's brand new. It's a new chapter that elevates the importance of small business participation. It's dedicating a standalone section to the policies and procedures that ensure small businesses have the maximum practical opportunity to compete for AE contracts. So it frames small business utilization not as an afterthought, but as a critical component of the acquisition planning phase. So the chapter reinforces that We're supporting the nation's small business program. It is a top priority for the government and therefore for the Army Corps of Engineers. The chapter also highlights the crucial role of the Deputy for Small Business, along with other small business advisors who are engaged early in the process. Additionally, the chapter outlines the primary methods the Corps uses to meet small business goals. Remember, it was expressed earlier in the briefing this morning, 23% is the requirement. So we're reaching out. We have to do our due diligence and capture those small businesses who are qualified and capable. We demonstrate their proficiency to be able to execute our requirements. In summary, the dedicated chapter signaled to industry that small business participation is a fundamental and non-negotiable part of the USACE AE acquisition process. It provides a clear framework for how USACE identifies opportunities for small businesses and the mechanisms through which they can participate, either as prime contractors or as valued subcontractors. Chapter 6, Task Order and Awards. This new chapter provides detailed guidance on the procedures for awarding task orders under an existing indefinite delivery contract or a multiple award task order contract. So this chapter really focuses primarily on the widely used MATOC, a multiple award task type contract. The chapter frames the MATOC process as two distinct steps: awarding the base MATOC and then competing and awarding the task orders. So we get very specific when it comes to the process that we need to follow to award those task orders under the MATOC. The MATOC process focuses on fair opportunity, which is the cornerstone of the process, providing all firms in the MATOC pool a fair opportunity to consider. Additionally, the chapter provides a clear playbook for industry on how they increase their chances of winning work under a MATOC. So most importantly, it emphasizes that after winning a spot in the pool, firms must continue to compete by showcasing their specific expertise, their key personnel, and the value for each individual task order opportunity. Hence why I say the SF 330 must be maintained and updated. Chapter 8, something brand new, but something we've done a long time along the way. Construction phase services support. The chapter establishes, first of all, a formal definition of what CPS is, and it identifies common services as the review of, listen up closely, what is CPS? It's the review of construction submittals, responding to RFIs, the review of contractor-prepared red line drawings for the creation of record drawings, and periodic site visits for specific purposes. But let me footstomp. It also establishes a core policy that the AV firm acts as in an advisory capacity to the government. It explicitly prohibits that the AE firm can supervise the construction contractor or direct their work, reinforcing that this is a government responsibility. Furthermore, it establishes a preference that CPS should be included as a price option or phased in the original design contract whenever possible. This ensures continuity and avoids the difficulty of bringing in a new firms to support. I have a lot of experience with that. So in most of my solicitations and in suing contract awards, we didn't see construction phase services support. We got caught. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we need checks here. We need assistance. How are we going to do this? Well, either we're going to write a justification and approval for the existing firm to be able to provide you that support, which would be, by the way, on the scope. So that's why we need a justification and approval. Or you're going to write a brand new contract. And guess what? It takes time. But we have a project that we're trying to wrap up or we're trying to execute. And now we don't have the support that we need. So you will see most frequently in the solicitations, we'll see the contract line item number, the contract instruction phase support services. It'll have to be evaluated, priced, and then it can be executed when necessary. So what do all the changes mean for you with respect to the EP 71517? Read the pamphlet. It's out there. I know it's not easy reading. It's not, so I'd probably take to memory. But read the pamphlet. The 2026 version is a new source of truth. its restructured content provides a clear roadmap for key contracting with the USACE. Double down on your small and medium strategy. A dedicated chapter confirms that small business participation is a top USACE priority. Large firms. If you're a large firm, you need a robust subcontracting plan. Small businesses have 4 defined opportunities. Master the MATOC game. If you hold the MATOC, the guidance on annual SF330 updates, the 30 pounds, not once, not twice, but 3 times, have those annual SF330s updated and tested the competition, since it is essential for winning future work. Understand that the fundamental rules still apply. While the guidance is new, the keys to success are the same. A tailored SF330, excellent past performance, and a deep understanding of the project's specific selection criteria are absolutely fundamental. In conclusion, I want to thank you for your attention. We've covered 3 critical updates that are reshaping our partnership. Cybersecurity, the CMMC, the no CMMC, no contract rule is a reality. It is crucial to begin assessing your security posture now to ensure you are prepared. Procurement reforms, the RFO. The FAR overhaul is our opportunity to move beyond rigid rules, to be empowered, mission-focused. For you, this means your feedback during market research and your ability to articulate mission-oriented solutions in your proposals are more valuable than ever. The USACE EP 71597 is your new pamphlet. It is your guide to success with USACE. Mastering the MATOC process, aligning with our small business goals, and maintaining excellent CPARS ratings remain the fundamentals of winning work. While these changes may seem daunting, they represent a framework for our collective future success, one built on security, it's your CMMC, clarity, the RFO and the EP, and collaboration. We are on this learning curve with you, and I can't emphasize that enough. We're not any different, folks. Okay? We work for the federal government, you support the federal government, but we're all on this learning curve together. Staying informed and communicating openly, I guarantee you we can navigate this new landscape together. Thank you.
Hey, Jim Ward.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Bernice Taylor.
Yes, there.
Program Management and Project Controls Branch Chief. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today, now that you've had lunch and you're really sleepy and you've had an hour and a half of contracting. Let's talk about some boring money stuff. So next slide, please.
Do you have a click right there? Oh yeah, there you go. Green button.
Green.
There you go.
Okay, so this is just a high-level summary of the funds available within the district and included in this year's president's budget. We carried in $800 million from last year, and we received an additional $378 million. That is a typo. I apologize for that. $378 million. We are looking to significantly reduce this by the end of FY26. So we are looking forward to lots of bids so we can get this work. A few examples of that work are going to be a variety of things that we have going on. We have some Houston Ship Channel work, some small continuing authorities program CAP work that's going to be upcoming. We have a lot of work coming up in our mega programs. And then, of course, our O&M program has an extensive portfolio this year. Beneficial use, obviously, is a little bit self-explaining. The Houston Ship Channel, as you all know, we have an extensive improvement project going on there. So there's going to be several contracts coming up either this year or in early next year, something to be looking forward to. Mega Projects has a lot of investigations that they're still doing to further the design on their portfolio of projects. So we'll be looking at things like surveys and geotech, potential acquisition strategies, all of that, to further that program along And then O&M always has an extensive dredging and PA program, which both of those things are going to be discussed later on by a later presenter. It's a lot of money, and we need a lot of work to get done. So this is where we are. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys want to submit through the forum. We are not going to get into specifics of contracts that'll be coming. Some more specifics will come from those project level communications, but I will not get into that today. So if you have specific questions that you would like to ask of me, please submit those through the board.
Yeah, thank you.
Please.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth McCarty, and I'm the project manager for the Houston Strip Channel Expansion Channel Improvement Project, also known as P11. Houston Strip Channel is one of our deep draft navigation channels. This is a 52-mile waterway that runs from Buffalo Bayou down to the mouth of Galveston Bay. It serves our Port Houston, which is our largest port in the nation as far as annual tonnage. The current dimensions of the ship channel require several restrictions that hinder vehicle movement. Specifically, our width of the channel restricts two-way traffic, and the depth of the channel requires light loading of some of our larger vessels. Our project aims to alleviate those problems. Now, the project is broken into several discrete segments as opposed to one monolithic project. As you can see, we have completed several segments. We have two others that are under construction, and today I'm going to talk to you about another one, which is commonly referred to as Segment 4, Boggy Bayou to Sims Bayou. This is up in the central reach of the Houston Ship Channel. Now, our planning indicates an advertisement date of late spring with the award this fall and construction starting approximately December 26, running a year to December of 2027. As you can see in yellow, this segment starts east of the Beltway 8 Bridge and runs west to Hunting Bayou, which is just right next to the Washburn Tuttle. This reach is heavily industrialized, heavily trafficked, and environmentally sensitive. And in addition, we do have the Beltway 8 construction right in the middle of our segment. So what does this project consist of? Well, mostly we will be digging and widening. So we have approximately 2.6 miles of channel widening that goes from 300 feet to 530 feet. We have another approximately 4.8 miles of channel that will deepen from 41 to 46.5 feet. And then we also have two abandoned 6-inch pipelines that will need to be removed from this project.
That's cool.
Now, the dredge material taken from the eastern side of the channel will go into the Beltway 8 placement area. This is one of our current construction projects that is ongoing. It is anticipated to be completed in October of 2026. The remaining material will go into the east-west Clinton existing placement areas that's located over in the Wheeler Park. Now, contractors should anticipate advanced material management that will include the mounding of some of our material in a residential area. Now, this contract is expected to require strong marine construction capability, dredging experience in fine waterways, and advanced material management. So this contract will be issued as an invitation for bid and will be posted on Sandbox.gov. That will be our official platform for the solicitation and any amendments and notifications. Typically, we are targeting the June, July for advertisement with bid opening approximately 30 days later, contract award in the fall. Your points of contact for this advertisement will be our contracting specialist, which is Tafisa Sewell, and our contracting officer, which is Curtis Cole. Now, again, this work includes channel widening, dipping, pipeline removal, and advanced placement area coordination. This is a highly active and constrained navigation corridor.
Our intent today is to give you early visibility so that you can plan your resources, partnerships, and equipment accordingly. Thank you, and we look forward to your proposals.
Like I said, I was just to all you have to do is click once, icon.
Good afternoon. My name is Galveston District. I am the acting chief of operations of the Galveston. My team oversees the operations and maintenance of all of our federal aviation channels, and this is our connecting areas for clean water.
Yeah.
Pretty like me.
So I'll start off by just kind of showing the overview of our district. Wayne and I did a little bit of the slides earlier this morning. This is just showing you us deepening all of our 6 deep draft aviation complexes in that area. Although it's not right, it's not on the job that we're doing work, construction that we're working on. Once they get deepened, they get started over to O&M. So I wanted to show this to show you guys, right? We're doing a lot of plastic maintenance stretching right now. Once we get done this deepening, we expect the shoreline rates to increase along. And so we're expecting to have to go after all the strength material even more. So I've got the list of the ongoing projects that we got. There's being anxious water, it still has to be operator slow to go. Decent ship channel that is literally just covered. Freeport, no more projects expected there. We're all last contracts there, as well as BIDs, and it calls for really conducted balance. All right, so for FY 26, so for this fiscal year, what we've got in our fiscal year coming up is 9 contracts for our deep draft channel. We got 4 contracts that cover our shallow draft channel, and got 10 placing area contracts. I will caveat this with some of these are going to be dependent on the plan, so we are still waiting to hear what additional funding will come down to see if we award all of this work. The teams here in the district are working on the design for the solicitation and drawings, and to take that we received behind the cost done. Usually that's not the case, but we are planning on this area to see that is what happens. But likely what's going to happen is some of these OPEC this fall off and we'll place next year. Then on the yellow square over there was our MATOC awards called school upward contracts. So I got a Hawker MATOC, the pipeline MATOC coming up. These are expected to award one quarter, the early 4th quarter, trying to get these awarded before the hurricane season comes up. And then the pipeline Hawker MATOC just in 30 drafts. Our pipeline MATOC will cover, it's going to shift a little bit of that were in the previous pipeline MATOC. It was large to small business. This year we're handling that pipeline MATOC to address in-track channels and several pools to address shallow draft channels. And then we have our area MATOC. That one also right now is scheduled to award for work order of this year. We are going to do this vacant area as a small business set aside MATOC. And so please keep an eye out for that one. Hopefully we get a lot of folks. I just go things. Correct. So this next slide, got a QR code for you guys to snap up there. We have a great technical team in operations, following our wireless management section. Those of you that are familiar with our dashboard, these are the brains behind it, our wireless management section. But since then, they've also helped us develop additional products for you guys to utilize as references. We have our operations dashboard, which I'll cover a little bit more in detail here in a minute. But we've also set up a hydrographic survey dashboard, and so that will let you look back at all of our historical surveys and our current surveys out there. We used to get requests for, hey, your national EHAG framework only has the current surveys, but we'd like to, see if we can get some data on historical surveys that you guys did. So you guys know what that your filling rates calculation, interpret your product that you got. And so we made it a little easier. So that I around 30, of course, could you go, you can look at those both. And we've also set up the campus can use, medical use to drag material concepts or new outside, and we're looking at like to understand. Here's also other products in the in the short of that are pretty useful. All right, so that beneficial use website. We displayed this one at other conferences. Those at the 10 days BPA. View website. This is what we set up here. You know, we laid out a couple of areas for you to look at. So we laid out the beneficial use process, what it takes for you to come part with the government and use our grant material on your beneficial use projects to our site, etc. So we've also laid out the how to understand the what it means, what it takes to get done, how we look at it, and making sure it fits the criteria of being able to work with us. And then we also got the beneficial use future planning. It's one of those words there. And in this area, we've laid out 5-year outlook follow-up projects. So that way, when you guys are planning your hard projects, you guys have an outlook of when you will be being qualified the area journey. We used to get emails and questions on, hey, I've got this project coming up. I need some grant material. And so we coordinate back and forth on, the best timing for that. What we've done, we consolidated that and let you guys have an outlook 5 years out of what we had planned. Now that could change based on the funding and things going on. Like this at least gives you some type of insight on that. And
Yeah, thank you.
And then this is our document coverage dashboard. What I'm going to do is have the differential live with it. And
Just took on my problem. Eat the chip off. No. Sorry.
for you.
And there.
Correct. Yep. All rich. So this is our beneficial dashboard.
Yes.
Here on the left-hand side, is all of our contracts. So anything updated with a crane or the structural figure is all of our contracts that we've already awarded. So we have a contractor in place for those actions. And then anything in red or the square icon is all of our upcoming piece for what. And I could mean, right, we've already received this, a proposed work, we have our work data. And so this will show you all of the contracts that we've got on information we can present. And then you got some information on the right-hand side that you guys can utilize as well as a token to come. We'll click on here to decide it. So if you click on a project or contract in the left-hand side, it will get you zoom in and highlight that scope of work. And then on UEG's right-hand side, you'll see all of the contract information. The contract owner, the contractor that won it, for you guys to be able to utilize and reach out to that contractor or in case there's something that you guys would like to, you can partner with them. And then if you click on the red solicitation, it's red. So we do say area, it doesn't click highlight on the scope of work. And then right back to the right-hand side, contract info, it tells you the solicitation number. So you guys can really just have a phone to put the information on that one. Gives you the estimated range. It'll tell you the estimated cubic yard we got laid out for it. And then the depth that we're looking to report. And then right next to right there, you'll keep up on half pound. It's our contract outcome. So it'll tell you what our schedule, advertised it, could have you worked in and specs or target condition layout. And so this gives you right off our future outlook and stuff. Like I said, we're still waiting on work back to this fiscal year to determine the go on some of these contracts. And one thing to see that information, we'll update this QR code that we're not able to get that that can be real steep. And then so we also have the filter feature on this dashboard. For those of you that are interested in just in draft, just shallow draft, specific projects,
This one is the project. So if you guys are interested in a specific AOR, so an area, homes because it should channel, right? Versus Freeport or Arbor area, this will help you filter and it will basically filter out only those respected contracts, those state codes for that area. The next filter you want to go correct this lawyer, so you can look at all certifications that we got out there active, either at the start of this year or to go this way. And then you can also filter by contract type. As securely our grading and our site area contracts. And so you can filter by our maintenance, our newer placement area improvement. Those are that that you guys are interested in looking at. And that'll help you kind of reduce some of the information that you can go to look at or walk through that. Another thing we did to kind of out with the dashboard is consolidate all of those different websites that we set up resources for the hydroelectric grading sturdy dashboard that I talked about. If you go onto our grading dashboard, you need kind of have a goal place access all hardware areas, those sturdy dashboards there. The historical career website that Celine did color right, our beneficiary resource sites there. And then we also created a link to the National Channel Framework. That is an enterprise with USACE nationwide website that lets you download, analyze, and project view. That's how this for Galveston, but reduce fire quality. That is all I got to you guys. So I already mentioned this line where we're trying to put some information on those board contracts that will partner with our sponsors that are not federal contracts, the so types of federal projects. We are working with the management team on including those on here as well, creating us open to have some type of reference on it. It's just so you guys have this approach on. Now, and so Wayne said if you have a few questions, look for us on and of course I'm telling those today. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, so I'm last. Before you kids go eat, so I take it here, I think how fast somebody else was trying. You're supposed to go to 4 o'clock. And so that means that I had to take all the time. But ultimately, I my name is Tony Atwood. I am the constituent chief for Galveston District. And I'm going to talk to you about some of our big projects. So the impacts of Galveston Bay and the cultivate this part. What's me right next to you? So I'm just going to talk really quick, like what is the Meta Project Division, our $7 billion construction base, our tool, our $900 million aid tool, the Oracle and vicinity contract, the vicinity contracts, our orange vicinity, supplemental element, coastal Texas, and then a lot of people speak. So what is the Meta Projects Division here in the Galveston District? Basically, we support the district efforts to the big infrastructure project in the district. So Coastal Texas is the being tapped government of aid. The Coastal Texas project will comprise the $1.4 billion, and most folks in here are tracking the overall project. But we are now first PED phase, and we're still working to get additional funding to secure additional progress as we continue to execute that project. The being tapped government of aid, however, was authorized and appropriated funding in our fire project. Bipartisan Budget Act 2018 at $3.9 billion among the supplemental elements, and Port Arthur and the other supplemental elements are assigned what we're executing for this project rate. As you can see, we have 2 sites that you can go to, and you'll see very interactive story maps that really describe the overall project. You'll see here, I'm going to go through some of our overall contract breakouts as well. In that, you'll see like what's all in the contract, how many levees, how many miles of flood walls, levees, whether it's floodgates, etc. Right? This is a great tool for you to get more in-depth information about what's happening inside of those contracts. That really explains our overall division. So the $7 million main top, like we were so excited when we awarded this tool. I'm sure y'all was just as excited as we were in April of 2025, so almost a year ago. But that tool gives us the ability to do design build, design bid build with horizontal construction. It includes, that work includes like levees, flood walls, bridges, retaining walls, marine structures, etc. It is primarily used within the Galveston District boundaries of AR, but it can be used along the Southwest Division, so Little Rock, Tulsa, Fort Worth. Primarily civil works mission, but it can support military and interagency and international services. That's what INS stands for, and has an 8-year contract span. So task force can be issued through April of 2030. The different contract types, firm fixed price, firm fixed economic price adjustment, firm fixed price incentives to federal targets. I know big words. The firm will may change a lot of it, right? But and also fixed price incentive on target, FTIF, and other fixed price under FAR Part 16. It does also give us the ability to on-ramp additional contractors anytime throughout our process if we feel that we're not getting adequate support in our bidding as we release different task force. So we can on-ramp other contractors. So I think a lot of you are interested in terms of like how we intend to advertise among the entire pool. So the acquisition plan does not identify a project magnitude of which projects will be advertised to the certain pool. So we have a small business pool and we have a restricted pool inside of our $7 billion tool. But we do have an overall contract task force capacity of about $400 million is what we are potentially targeting. But we do or will intend to look at going over contracts above that amount, but we will be strategic as to how we approach that in our task force committee. So the PT will determine if it's most appropriate to advertise to the entire pool or the small business reserve or the project by project basis. And then factors that the PT will consider include project magnitude, project complexity, current numbers, task orders already awarded to a particular member within the pool as well. So these are our current contractors and non-restricted and small business pool, $1.7 million May top. I'm gonna provide some additional notes here from all the findings to foster. But we do an exit, which was we call business engagements, we conduct these one. Going to be working ready, so we're key deal for and a couple of big content for some upcoming awards that we have. All right, so we were hot in getting things busy last year in 2025, right? So we awarded our $7 billion tool. Yay, and then we awarded our $900 million engineering college for 2025, right? And so that was another big win for the district. But Colin Dave, when he first got in, that was all he was here about for. We had to get it done, but we did. So I'm really excited. December 2023 is when we can issue task force among this pool, of course, civil and of course all work primarily intended to be used within the Galveston District, but this tool can't be used anywhere within the continental of the United States of America, right? So anybody in Baltimore, wherever, you can reach out and say, hey, we need to utilize your capacity on this. This tool is 8 years and has a 2-year base. Wait, 3 2-year option years. So we do have to trigger those extension of options every 2 years. It has contract types of firm fixed price, cost plus work fee, time and material, and late cloud. These are our God bless the train. Oh, sorry, y'all. These are our unrestricted and small business contract pools within our $900 million AE.
All right, so now we're going to talk about Sabine Pass Galveston Bay, our $4 billion in programs that we have here in the Galveston District. Sabine Pass Galveston Bay, so Fort Arthur Summerville element and the Orange Summerville element. This kind of just lays out the overall project, the different contracts that we have identified within the vicinity for Summerville element. Last time I think you guys saw this, we had 5, now we're at 9, and so it's a constant evolving project, right? And we learn more and determine, how we need to bring out to contractors so that we can accelerate and get the project into construction. We do that. So right now, these are our current projected advertisement dates for those different contracts. But what I will say is PADO 3C, I'm sorry I forgot to update that one will be awarded in FY27 first quarter 1, so quarter 1 of FY27, so we're projecting that to be around December of 2026. And so what I would say is that we never had like small business engagement. I call it like speed dating for our contractors that are currently already in the pool. So we brought all industry out to the Port Arthur area, and our current base talk holders basically came out and several small businesses within the area. And it was a way for our large contractors and our small contractors that are in that pool who really engage in the industry that in the areas. One of the requirements is you do have to have a small business plan, and we do require to have local small contractor engagement. That is the requirement for a small contractor. So just be on the lookout. Another big thing is we are identifying, that's why you see a lot of TBEs here, because we're looking for ways to pull our overall construction execution to the left, right? We heard a lot here about our overhaul and how we are looking to revamp our contracting. And so that has really redefining ways as to, hey, what can we do? And we are actively looking at that. And so what I would say is, I know it was kind of mentioned to us before that we're probably not doing a good job of at least even telling our current MATOC holders, hey, when are we getting ready to award some of this? And so what I promise you we will do is we will do a better job at communicating when we are going to award our upcoming contracts. But like I said too, we do intend to have those small business engagements for each of our contracts before we award. So for those different contracts, I think I told you guys, like we kind of broke them out even more, right? So we're gonna have more work coming on our $900 million tool. So the previous slide kind of showed you what we were intending for our $6 million tool. This is what we're intending for our $900 million tool. And like I said, in terms of the CDD, we're still working out when we're going to solicit that, but also to our $900 million AD make talk holders, we will review those when we intend to do that as well. For the orange vicinity, I don't even think last time we probably had this breakout because we have been actively working on how we're going to read out all of these different contracts. And as you can see right now, we have 19. This is unlike Port Arthur Summerville element, which is an existing system where we are making improvements. The Orange County Summerville element is a brand new system, right? And so we're building everything, new flow walls, new levees, pump stations, et cetera. So this is an extensive project. And so how we broke out the contracts to look at, relocations, real estate, our non-federal responsibilities is all coordinated in these contract breakout things. And of course, right, this one, a lot of TBEs, but we will be looking to, after we complete our post-authorization change report, we call that a packer. We complete our packer, we'll have more determination on how we intend to execute the orange chemical element. And most of this is as it relates to mountain and the school as well. So a lot of that work will more than likely be going on non-mission hours around. Okay, so coastal Texas, I think maybe most folks know, but we recently potentially have done a $5 million year march. And so we are excited to receive that funding. But our non-federal sponsor is advancing the project along, right? They have additional funding that they are utilizing to progress design. And so it is in our PED phase, so the pre-construction engineering design phase. And the Coastal Texas project consists of levees, flood walls, big floating sector days out there in the middle of the navigation channel, and other green and gray infrastructure. Like I said, we're for $1 billion worth cost project. We do intend to utilize the $7 billion horizontal base pool for our first construction award contract once we get our construction new start decision. But our sponsors, as I indicated, they have money and they are looking to progress things forward, and they have what we call a memorandum of understanding for working kind contributions. And so they intend to potentially start construction contract. And when they do, like I think Byron mentioned earlier, we'll have cross-contamination on our site saying our funding, our leasing contract. So one of the things that I wanted to mention here, we are actively in what we call the integrated delivery strategy, or trying to figure out how we can break up the Coastal Texas project into discrete, constructible, executable context. And so we will be conducting several one-on-one engagements with industry to determine what that should look like. And so be on the lookout. Hopefully you take in a lot of the information that was provided earlier in terms of how we go about this work and thought. But we intend to utilize this synthesis so that we can look out for our integrated delivery schedule. So these are some more important websites that you on just all day long. So like here's me to bore you with those. But we have social media. We do post the lives just to know what the Galveston District, not just when we have young today, right? Because post technique can be post just a lot of different things, but what's really happening that's great within our district.
Good night.
All right. That's it, y'all.
This is your PD. See, good night. Thank you, Ms. Addison. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Romain Hyatt.
Appreciate everybody coming out today, giving all this insight, and being very transparent on the knowledge that we knew at this time and sharing. Thank the presenters that we had this morning and this afternoon. We did get done a little bit early. So with that time to use valuably, I'm going to stay here till 4 o'clock. And I encourage us to use this time till 4 o'clock to network. And then after that, enjoy our weekend. Look forward to the bright future ahead. Sir, is there any kilos of growers? Thanks, Mike.
Hey, so first off, let's give Wayne a big round of applause to the board. And really, my entire team that put this together. So I know, most of you probably understand how much work goes into putting something like this together. We've had fits and starts over the last 6 months over where they're going to do it, where we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, who's coming, who's not. And so you guys have been extremely flexible. You guys have kind of rolled with the punches, and you still pulled off a fantastic event. So thank you for doing this on behalf of the district. For all of our partners, as Wayne said, take advantage of this, nice however long necessary to continue to network, continue to ask my team questions. We look forward to working with you, doing business with you. And like I said at the beginning, you all are the implementers of our new strategic goal of moving faster, getting delivery for the American people, and really just delivering on our civil works program that is so very important. And so I'd ask you to, as you bid on these projects or as you, work with us completing these projects, keep that in mind, okay? Because we're getting, a lot of pressure to get done faster, quicker, more efficiently. I'm focused on making sure my team does that. And then what I'd ask is when you're in the execution phase of that, actually doing the work for us, I'd ask you to have that same mindset. Because on the government side, we're going to be pushing. We're going to be pushing hard, and we want to get it done fast. And if we don't have your side doing that as well, there's going to be a disconnect. So please come into it with urgency, come into it with aggressiveness, and come into it ready to adapt. So thank you, everybody. If I don't run into you in the next few minutes or whatever, have a great weekend. Please reach out. Please take the survey. We're going to continue to get better as we do things in the future. So please give us constructive feedback, things that you may want to see that you didn't see today. And my promise to you is we will take that into consideration when we plan the next ones. So thank you very much. Have a great day.